Hello, hello, hello. Hakuna Matata. All right. Who's ready for a banger of a stream? Flip. Starting off as always with some dope fan art. I wish I could do some of that. Hope you don't mind my October mug for the old coffee today. The old Manning toaster routine. It's gonna be a doozy of a stream today. Honestly, should definitely go and check out the announcements. See if they added anything to it. Just the questions. Yep. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Oh, it's gonna be a good stream today. We got 10 minutes. I'm freaking pumped. Just checking some sound. Just checking some sound. 8 minutes to go. Wish I had time to fully make a bingo card. So I'm very hyped for some potential summoner spoilers or leaks. We do. So some wants, some definite wants we want to see from the Ranger today is, are we an archer or are we a ranger? Are we required to have a bow to use half the kit? Because they've touted since the dawn of the game that any class can use any weapon, and all classes have access to melee and ranged weapons. But all the abilities we've seen thus far for the Ranger has used a bow. So I'm wondering if there's going to be different visuals, or if you're wielding a wand instead. I hope that's something they show today. Need to see some non-bow skills. So we want to see some traps. We want to see some movement. Backflip disengage is on my bingo card. Minute warning. Get your last little bits of a autopilot. I hope this one's going to be a banger too. Absolute. I mean, we're going to get A2 announcement, which quarter it's going to be. I'm less optimistic as far as the quarter it's going to be than the other content creators. A lot of them saying Q1 or Q2. I'm in the Q3 camp. Oh man. Hopefully we get some spicy leaks. That's what I'm hoping for. I can't wait for the actual music that they have. If their placeholder music is this fantastic, I can only imagine what their actual music's going to be. Now some of these weird stuff. A music reveal stream. Now there's an idea. They definitely need to do something before the A2 in terms of the music for the game. A music reveal stream is one that I hadn't even considered. Of all the other systems and classes and whatnot that they have to show, that definitely should be high up there. Unless they're gonna add that to the bucket of lore where they want that to be revealed like right at the beginning. Yes, yeah, Bear is still in charge of the music. I believe they mentioned that during the charity event. Because I think that's where a lot of people found out that all this stuff is actually a placeholder. Which I knew, funny enough, a long time ago, because I was watching TV and this commercial for some random bank came up, and they was using the exact same music from the launcher, and I was just like, are they playing Ashes of Creation? What's going on here? Skynet is real, and Skynet is over here just playing some games with me. Autopilot, what is your quarter prediction for A2? Very curious. Get it in before this final minute. Thirty seconds. 30 seconds. The Hopium train is getting ready to leave the station. Ka-choo, ka-choo. Correct, yeah. Which is your quarter prediction for Alpha 2 release? Because we're supposed to be getting that info today. I think Vladis named his stream Quarter 1 Copium. Very hopeful for a Q1 release, which would just be insane. Q2. All right, Brandon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Ashes of Creation December development update. We hope that you've been having...
God.
I know. It is our last development update for the year. That's crazy to say.
For 2023, that is crazy to say.
Yeah,
Margaret's tree
the book
is super
closing
dope.
on 2023, but 2024 is going to be a very exciting one for us. If you haven't been following along, Alpha 2 is happening in 2024, but we'll be, stick around to the end. We might have some other little announcements for you.
We're gonna do it at the end.
Of course, we hope that you all have been staying safe, and there's a lot going on in the world right now, so we wish you all happiness and safety, especially coming into this holiday season. But we've got a lot of good things to talk about. As you can see from below, we have our reminders today with some good ones in there. Ranger update. So those of you who are
Ooh.
ranger folks out there, definitely get your bows prepared, knock those arrows, because we are gonna be shooting all kinds of things today.
Yes.
So
And it's been
yeah.
a while since we've had an archetype showcase. The last
Are
one
they
was
going
the
to be
cleric, which was several
flinging
months ago.
some
That's true. And
wands?
we have
That's another
shown
question.
a preview of the Ranger. So if you have been following us for a while, you've seen a little bit of it, but it has changed quite a bit. And there are a lot more abilities to showcase for you all. And there's still more to come. So this is just still even just the cusp of it.
Cusp.
So stick around with us. We got a journey. We'll do a little studio update. And of course, we have some cool art from our art team that they love to share with you guys. And then we'll do a Q&A. And then, we might have something else at the end. So stick around. So with that, I'll go through the updates. Also, Steven's background looks like it's fake, but I know it's real. Like,
Because
I
of
know
that
that's what your
creepy,
office looks like.
creepy Santa gnome.
Every single time I see it,
It's
I'm like,
very
it looks
it's
like one of
very
those fake
festive.
backgrounds.
I know. It's very festive. I thought, it's December, Christmas. Maybe we'll do a little bit of the Christmas background. By the way, I love your tree in the background, that Phoenix tree. Holy smokes.
Thanks.
How cool
On
is that? So
brand.
at the end of Christmas, does it just burn away, like it burns into ash, and then it
Yeah.
reignites next season?
I got the flocked tree specifically because I was like, it gives the ashes vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally does. I think it looks great. I
put
love
this
it.
That's actually a
together in
really
20
cool
minutes while
thematic
baking
element to end the
broccoli.
year with the
We
Phoenix, so
both
you
have an
can
element of
start your
fire in
new
the
year
background. I got the
fresh.
fireplace.
We
You've got the
do.
Phoenix fire tree. That's kind of cool.
I put a festive sweater on. Well, it's actually a
I-
dress, but you can't
I-
see it. So
John said I can't wear the intrepid shirt. I have to do something that's like wintry look. So he wanted me to
Yeah.
wear the
I was
the
gonna say
jacket.
I don't know if I've ever seen you wear like a white sweater before. It looks good. Looks good. But we are all festive. It is. I think even our PI folks, because we have like a PI meeting that we do every month, they were like, "You guys are so chill. You're calm." I think it's the calm before the storm at the
It's
end
the
of the
storm.
year.
Yeah, I was about to say it's just everyone's bracing, breathing in. Hold tight. Hold.
They know how the
That's what's
community
happening.
feels.
The team has been working really hard, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in our studio update. But of course, let's get into our reminders. Thank you all for joining us. We hope that you are just as excited as us for the end of this year. And of course, our first one here is our YouTube subscribers comment spotlight. Don't forget that if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you have that public. And then also leave a comment on our next dev update. So this update when it goes live. And you too could be spotlighted.
Oh yeah, Margaret's great.
This week's spotlight, or this month's
Super
spotlight,
kind.
is infinitely random. And they want to know any plans to add AI voices to speechless text NPCs.
This is a big question for
we've talked a little bit
Extermicide
about this topic
and
before,
Ludo.
so those of you who have been with us for a long time may have heard an answer, but I thought maybe this could be a cool way for us to also talk about AI in general and where our stance is on that, because obviously it's a big thing in this industry of this last year especially.
Yeah, I think that some of the technology and the advancements that we've seen, not just within the gaming industry, but a broad scope of AI influence, is something that we are keeping a close eye on, and we have some plans to investigate and inspect a few of the designs and approaches that we've taken, particularly as it relates, I think, to this question, and AI voice over potential to influence our narrative loops and how players interact with general AI dialogue. And there is an opportunity there, but it's not one that we have fully explored yet, although it is on the docket for the first part of next year for us to analyze what potential exists from a leveraging standpoint for this new tech. And I would say stay tuned. Stay tuned next year as we give updates. You'll likely see some things, perhaps even in Alpha 2, that could relate to that. We'll see. But it is something we are aware of, and we are keeping close tabs on how to integrate and leverage as part of
X is going to be very
Ashes.
happy.
All right. Hopefully that gives you enough fuel for your answer there, infinitely random, and we appreciate you subscribing to our channel and showing us some love. Reminder also that, hold on a second, I need to turn off these notifications. If you're hearing that, I apologize. This is my Slack notification going off.
Spooked me.
We also have our Dev discussions up right now. We have one, and we had teased this last time about drop rarity. How do you feel when it comes to rare loot? Do you prefer when rare mobs and bosses drop something interesting often or less? Let us know what your thoughts are. I mean, I know most of you are out there hunting for gear progression, and you definitely have thoughts on this. So please, please head on over to our forums and give us your thoughts
Less
on
is
it so that
better.
we can wrap that report up and send it over to our development team. And our next one is going to be utility skills. So if you're interested
Ooh.
in, what, and I think even someone put in a question that was specifically about like different types of abilities and things like that. So if you have thoughts, make sure that you are sharing them with us, because the development team is pretty adamant about checking out our reports, and
Yeah.
we always
And
love
that's a
sharing
big
them.
question. That's a
That
big
armor's
question too.
really
I mean,
cool
I
right
remember
there.
some of the
I love the
some
purple
of the
drip.
games that I have played, some MMOs in the past, where this was long before the standardized modernization of like every participant gets a bound item when the raid ends. This was like, no, the raid boss was a loot pinata, and maybe it took 100 people to kill it, but it only dropped like 6 or 7 complete items. And you had to orchestrate, like alliances would orchestrate their own like itemization owner who would like keep a list of the participants that
Like
were
DKP.
attending. Yeah,
Master looting.
absolutely. And you
Yeah,
would have to assign that out. I mean, that was the old school way of approaching it. So when
I
you
like
guys go
that.
and I like it too, personally. And when
I
you
think it,
go
it,
and
it makes it more challenging, and it makes the replayability of it is there because you need it, and then also,
absolutely.
you extend it to alts if there's drops that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
too
I
common or whatever. Yeah,
This is a great topic for you guys to go and comment on the forums and kind of give your experiences and expectations, because it helps to validate our approach, or give us
It's very
considerations that perhaps
important.
we hadn't thought of.
yeah.
In lieu or in addition
Oftentimes, I
to
will say that
leveling
when we're
gear,
going through these reports,
that's
it's
very
always like
important
the
too,
dev
which
team's
they
like,
haven't really
"Yep,
talked
yep,
too much
yep,
about
yep."
that.
They're like on the same page as you guys, which I think for the most part is pretty awesome. There are some cases where obviously we're gonna follow our design passion and love because we're like, you don't think you want this, but you do. And we'll test those out. And like Stephen always says, in our alpha and beta phases, even when we launch, if there's drastic feedback, we're going to analyze that feedback. We're going to analyze the data. We're going to make
Oh,
sure that we're
absolutely.
making good decisions as we move forward. Because I think that sometimes I mean, all of us have played many MMOs or just games in general. And when developers aren't willing to like see the side of the player, then that's the problem.
Hmm.
But fortunately, we are all players, so that is the beauty of it, and we are playing our game every
Yes,
day. It is
I know.
mandatory.
Exciting.
um, and of course, we did do a
Open up spot
holiday
testing.
delicious dev
I'll join
discussion
that
that we
every
had
single
posted up
night.
on the forums. And it looks like the Toolnar theme recipes for the delicious dev discussions, as well as the
That's
bonus
what I voted
Lunar
on.
recipes, are up on the forums. So congratulations to the Toolnar. They won. I loved working with Cody. Did an amazing job, aka Vacnar. Did an amazing job putting these together and coming up with the recipes. I think I have like a little asset here. That was cute. There we go. Thank you, Mike, for that. Um, this isn't all of the recipes, but it's kind of cute. And of course, we'll also post them not in an image like this with just the text. Vecnar has been really conscious of that because obviously some of you guys are want to copy paste it or translate it for your localization. So yeah, enjoy that. We're excited. We hope that you'll make some of these
Might have to celebrate with
delicious noodles as
some
well. So
underrealm
send them to
noodles
us over
today.
on our Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere, all of our social channels. If you do end up making these over the holiday break, we would love to see them. But yeah, we're excited. I'm really
Yeah, that'll
excited
be
for the
fun.
glow in the dark noodles, the underrealm noodles.
Oh my God, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. How'd you get them glow in the dark?
Yeah, there's like a thing in there. If you look, I can't remember what the piece is.
It's like
Can't
sounds
read it
like
with the tiny text that I'm looking at
sounds
it
like some significant carcinogens probably in those.
at. I did say that too. I was like, I don't know if that's healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's
It's
it
cool
was
though.
it was funny, but we
Just
are.
to be clear, these recipes are not evaluated by the FDA in any way, shape, or form. So,
That's fair. That's fair.
yes.
Um, you know, create them at your own will. You don't have to eat them. You can just create it.
Well, I'm chomping
And of
away.
course, don't forget to share your creations with us. We do want to see them if you do end up doing it. And if you enjoyed that, definitely give us feedback on the forums over there that you enjoyed seeing the recipes or doing that type of thing and getting kind of an insight into some of the recipes for the different races.
Yes.
Next up, we just have a reminder that our Unseen Order cosmetics will be ending on January 17th, 2024.
You got a
11
month.
a.m. Pacific. So if you would like a pre-order pack, now is the time to grab a pre-order pack. We will be assessing our server capacity and things of that sort, and like where we're at in regards to that as we go into Alpha 2. So we may expand the ability to get access to Alpha 2 in other ways, but this is
I've got a
the last
referral link
pre-order
down in
pack
the
that will be
description.
available. So if
You get
are
a
interested in
15%
that, it is a great
additional
deal. You get a
in-game
lot of goodies in
currency.
it, for a price
So
that
if
is
you want to
less
support
than
the game,
worth of
support
whole
the
value of
team,
the package.
definitely use that down there.
It is happening.
Yes, because there is time
is.
too that's incorporated in that, like game time, and game time is expensive.
This makes me so pumped for my
And
necromancer.
there's also an FAQ up, so if you have questions in regards to anything, there's answers for you over there. And like I said, there will be other opportunities potentially to get access to Alpha 2. It's just that we are trying to close things down to make sure that we're in a good space and we're ready and we know what our concurrency is going to be when we go into that. As many of you have played many MMOs, we want to make sure that the server experience is in a good place. And next up, we have just a reminder of the content creator program. It is still up for application phase. We will probably be closing the application phase for a little bit of time as we are going through those. We're going to be hiring on some content creator relations folks and powering through that soon. So if you're interested, or if you're already on it, then you're good to go. Or if you're already on it and you need to edit it, you should be able to go to that form and edit it and update it.
I wasn't aware I could.
Well.
I definitely should probably pop in there and edit mine.
Best to get back to everybody. Steven wants us to get back to everyone, even if you're not in the program, so you have a confirmation of whether you are or aren't. And
I think I only had like 50 subs when I applied the first time.
Program too for people who
if you're new to the channel, think about subscribing, help me, get closer to that goal of 1,000. I'd really appreciate it.
Give them some advice. So it's gonna be a lot of staffing that we need to do on our end, but I think that in the long run, we're gonna have.
Appreciate you being here as well. Thanks for tuning in.
Program, like I haven't seen at any other company before.
Agreed.
I've worked for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's an important part, right? Content creators are a big portion of how the company is able to communicate with its audience. And it's important not only to foster the relationships, but also to hone the techniques. And I think that this particular program is going to be very useful for a lot of people to hone those techniques. To
and
make
for us
sure
to work with folks. And I do want to make it clear, we're not looking for people who are only big creators, right? Just because you have 200 subscribers, that's not a big deal to us. We're still going to be working with you just as much as we would work with somebody who has 200,000. So it's really a matter of, you're obviously going to get less codes than that person because you have less followers, but like we're going to make sure that you're engaged with us, that you get the information that you need, but it's also still fair to our other users. I think that's also important. I think a lot of us have played in games where like content creators get benefits that are like better than everybody else. You're like, what? It really is more about a relationship. Beyond that,
community events are the big thing that I want to be a part of.
There are other programs that will come into play down the line, like guilds, artisans, those type of things. So if there's other things or PvP stuff, so as we get closer to
Pirate
launch,
Guild,
some of
let's
those
go.
programs come online, or programs like that come online based on what our users are doing and how we can engage with you guys in order to make sure that there's cool stuff that you can be doing in our community. And whatever our community is gravitating towards, that's where we're gonna try to help uplift you guys. It's definitely a mutual thing. So we really want to be engaged with our audience, unlike some other games that we've been part of. I'm not gonna call out names. And with that, I think I have covered all of our reminders. So do you want to preface anything with the Rangers?
I do want to preface some things. So first of all, I do want to say that we have heard our community with the way that we present the live stream showcases. And I've asked Margaret to prepare the YouTube video to launch simultaneously with the presentation on Twitch. So for those of you, here's what I would ask, who want to go watch it in 4K while the stream is still continuing. You can do so on YouTube. It'll be up in just a few moments, right when we started here. But make sure that you're still offering your comments in Twitch, because I do read those. Margaret reads them. The team reads them. It's very important. And come and join us afterwards for the discussion as well. So you're not allowed to leave necessarily. You can't just go watch the YouTube video and then sign off. You have to still
Also,
watch the stream.
if you haven't noticed, I grab questions from the channel.
Yes.
Roshan and Vecna both pop questions over here in the different various places that they're at. So we are, if you have questions along the way while you're watching, making sure that you post in like our Twitch channel is very important, so that we can.
I should have popped
get
out
your answers for you.
Absolutely,
Twitch
100%.
chat.
Now, about the showcase. So, as Margaret said, and as you guys have been anticipating, we are going to be looking at the Ranger archetype.
Got to see what everyone's saying in
Again,
the Twitch
this
chat.
is a work in progress. The UI is still very much a functional UI. The VFX still have multiple rounds of passes that need to be done on them. But this gives you an understanding kind of the direction that the archetype progression and development has gone as it relates specifically to the Ranger. And of course, you can derive from that insights for other classes and other archetypes and how they will interact.
The augment system too?
A very fun showcase, obviously, with the combat team. Trad, Brian, and Keenan joined me. They've been regulars on the show in the past. The last time we've discussed the Ranger was actually in 2022, and it was a very brief discussion about ranged basic weapon combat with a few, maybe 2 or 3 Ranger abilities sliced in. Today, you're going to be watching near 1 hour presentation that talks about upwards of 18, 19 different abilities with some 20 odd passives and
passives.
weapon progression tree. When you analyze this, I
weapon
did turn
tree.
off cooldowns, of course, at the beginning to kind of
We're gonna get
demonstrate
the
each of
bow
the
weapon
abilities.
tree.
I turned them back on afterwards. Very 2 important things to keep in mind when you're thinking about feedback and you're thinking about essentially what you want to share about your thoughts for the presentation is on the abilities, the status conditions that get applied and how they promote the role the role of the archetype as well, being a ranger and not seeing, potentially a lot of melee abilities, but a lot of ranged. So focus on those 2 aspects, the interconnectivity with the other classes from a group perspective, and each of the individual abilities. We're going to be
and that's not to say that you could not spec more melee oriented.
Absolutely.
Right.
Good.
Yes, correct. Yes.
You want to be a ranger and not just an archer.
Archetype. So this is not class. This is not the combination of your secondary, which will fundamentally change through the augment system some of those basic abilities. So
looking at you, Strider class.
Enjoy the presentation.
We'll see you on the flip side.
Hope you guys are pumped.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day in Vera. We have a very exciting stream for you today. It has been some time since we have showed off a bit of the ranged combat, and today we are going to be talking about the Ranger archetype with some 17, 18, 19 skills. I can't remember what we're going to be showcasing today in the base archetype, but it is a whole lot of Ranger. And I have joining us today 3 of our glorious developers, 2 of our senior designers, Trad.
I love the
Brian.
bone,
Trad,
man.
Brian, how you guys doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here. I think it's been a couple since we did our last combat showcase.
I know.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Happy to show off the Ranger.
Yeah, you've been putting in a lot of work on this.
What race
Brian.
is that?
Not just me, the whole team.
Absolutely, the whole team. But Rangers are near and dear to you.
Is that a Renkai?
Right?
I can't tell.
Player? Don't you play some Rangers?
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite classes. They're often not done justice in games, so getting the opportunity to do right by Ranger mains makes me
those are
happy.
husks.
Yes. And then, of course, the man behind the magic, the senior engineer, and the
Or maybe
owner
it's
for
a
the
Vec.
PC core
I think
team,
that's a Vec.
Keenan. How you doing,
Female
Keenan?
Vec. There it is. Female Vec.
I'm alive. Happy to be here, though.
Yeah, this is, by the way, this is a really cool environment. I see Carvin in the background. We're here in winter. It is, it's definitely giving me the Christmas vibes. And it is beautiful. I mean, the environment team, holy smokes, what an amazing job.
Always beautiful.
I love the snow, everything. It feels so cozy.
It does.
Now, we have, let's see, I'm in your party. We have established from some feedback from the community on the showcasing that little one by one of each ability before we get into any combat situations with some mobs or NPCs.
So he's already got a
It's nice,
buff
clean
up
way
with a
for us to
hunt.
kind of showcase, obviously, all the hard work that's gone into the creation of this. Excuse me.
Hunt of the cheetah or hunt of the
creation
tiger
archetype.
on
I
shift
apologize for
5.
coughing, guys. I've recently got sick, and I'm still recovering a little bit. But I am doing much better now. So I think this is a great place. What is this, like some dried up riverbed or something? It looks pretty cool. Get some nice colors in here. Now, obviously, as a disclaimer, before we begin, I do want to say that UI, VFX, 100% a work in progress. Oh my God, there's a bird up there. And
I got him.
Oh, thank you. Good.
The Raven
Scared
got
the bird.
smoked.
The UI is a work in progress. The VFX are a work in progress. Everything here is subject to change through testing. Obviously, Alpha 2 coming up is going to be a big opportunity for us to test a lot of this stuff. So please keep that in mind, especially you content creators out there who are going to do some review videos. Make sure you mention that at the start of your videos.
Okay, Steven, I'll
Keenan,
start adding
how do you
that.
feel about being a targeting dummy for the showcase of these abilities?
I'll tank it.
All right, let's do that. And do you have a healer? Tread? Very
Tred's got me.
All right, Tred's got you.
It's all on me here.
All right, there we go. All right, so I am now no longer in your party so that I can murder you. But I have set my cooldowns to 0.1, I believe, so that I can show each of these abilities off multiple times as we're talking about it. So please keep in mind, guys, as you're out there watching this display, the cooldowns here are set to practically nothing. Now we're going to do some combat afterwards. I'll set cooldowns back, but during this display they're set to nothing. Let us showcase our first ability. I see
The
we have
updated snipe. We've
Snipe.
seen it.
And we showed Snipe off last year when we did our last ranged basic weapon combo
Actually, I'm
update.
guessing shift 2 to
And
shift
people got
4
see
are the
a
hunt
little
abilities.
preview of it last month as well.
And then
during
shift
our
5
Odyssey shift
through
review.
shift
But talk to
V
me about some of the
are some
changes that Snipe
aspects.
has gone through and what this ability
Self-buffs.
serves as a purpose. Brian.
Yeah, so with Snipe, we've been leaning into it being an alpha strike ability. So it's what you want to open with to deal massive damage. And since it's got that charge up time, it's not as good to do when you're needing to kite something, but whenever you're just opening on something that's an unsuspecting target, it's the perfect ability for it. And if you have spec choices, there's other things that lean into it. For instance, you got that proc on you right now that's giving you 20% bonus attack speed on a successful snipe.
Tax
Oh,
me.
okay, let me take a look at that.
Fire it again, you'll see it.
Okay, let me see.
Back.
Yeah, Trad helped with this. He added this into the skill tree. Yeah, just procced on you there. So
Oh, there it is.
yeah, so
Love it.
your follow-up shots will come out even quicker.
How about some movement speed
Cool.
that
So
you can
that
spec
proc
into?
is happening because I have spec'd into a passive. And let's take a look.
Yes.
This is the first time that people have actually seen the progression tree for a particular archetype in quite a while, actually, probably since our Alpha 1.
Since
But
A1.
there has been a lot of work that's gone into this from you guys, of course. Talk to me a little bit about the different types of abilities we're seeing here.
Trad, do you want to take this one? Because you put a lot of work into this.
Sure. I mean, we're going to go through all these as we go through and show them off one by one, but what you're seeing at a high level here is just what you'd pretty much expect of a traditional skill tree. We're doing something a little more advanced than just like a bottom-up structure because we're being a little bit more freeform in this iteration. This will obviously see more UI iterations in the future, but you'll see like a mix of active and passive abilities here. Actives are indicated by their square shape, while the circular ones are representing passives. And one thing to note as well is that these
looks really good.
passives are aiming to be a little more interesting than just like, this ability does more damage now, or this, it has a lower cooldown. Like we do have some of those too, but the goal with a lot of these passives, in addition to that, is to allow people to lean into unique play styles. So you'll notice that some of them are changing your gameplay in meaningful ways, and that's the direction we want to take player and character customization as a whole.
Explosive
Very cool. Yeah, I love it.
barrage just got specced
Obviously,
into.
You know, this is all subject to intense feedback from the testers who will be participating as part of Alpha 2. All of this stuff is subject to change, as I said, but it gives you guys a very good idea direction-wise, and your feedback is, of course, why we do these development updates, so please make sure that you give us your thoughts back on this type of progression tree. In addition to the archetype progression tree, we also have something that interacts with each of the archetypes, and that is a weapon progression tree as well. Now, obviously, the format of this particular weapon skill tree that you're seeing here is a relatively simplistic one, but talk to me a little bit about the intent and purpose behind the weapon skill tree.
Yeah, so the intent here is to give you choices. Either I want to extend and improve my combo, or I want just passive benefits that increase my attack speed or crit chance in this case with the short bow. And yeah, as you can see, the tree's a lot more simple, kind of like a stage 1 tree, work in progress, but it'll get fancier over time.
And I see
Heavily
on the far
inspired by
right-hand side,
DCUO,
Brian, that
100%.
there are additional combo steps. So let me actually
I wish there were
unspec,
actual combos, though.
These additional combo steps so that we can talk first about the basic weapon combo, and I'm just going to demonstrate that here. I'm going to use the short bow. Now, this is a short bow we are using. You guys remember from last year when we showcased ranged weapons that we had obviously a number of them, some of them arcane, some of them physical, but the two bow types that we have are longbow and short bow. I'm using the short bow, as you can see. It is a copper short bow. And let's see
It's a recurve.
what this looks like without the combo upgrade.
That's 4 hits there.
Very
Crispy.
cool. So it's relatively rapid pace.
Crispy.
Especially compared to that of the longbow that you guys got to see a little while ago. Let us talk about speccing now into these additional combo steps. And what does that do? Oh, you know what?
Yes. So we've done a lot of experimentation over the past couple months to find out what's the shortest and what's the longest combo that's acceptable. Because we had this goal where we wanted to have a combo length progression available to players, so that certain builds could have longer weapon combos and other builds can have shorter weapon combos with more passive effects. And this has been the result of our exploration. So when you start out, you've got a pretty quick 4-hit combo, but whenever you unlock the additional hits, you get the 5th and 6th hits, which add approximately 50% to the overall combo length. But we found that gave a pretty satisfying floor and ceiling to how long the combo can be.
It definitely, yeah, I can feel absolutely the change, obviously, in the pace. Between not having specced into the combo and getting those additional 5th and 6th steps.
So in addition to the later hits in the combo doing additional damage, you also unlock proc effects. So on your 5th hit, you unlock the special 5th hit, which gives you 10% bonus critical strike chance, which you just proc there. And then the 6th hit, you unlock the special 6 hit, which gives you Arrow Storm, which causes your next, I believe, 10 attacks to fire an additional arrow at the target.
Very cool.
So that combos really well with rapid fire abilities, such as the next ability we're going to be looking at.
All right, let's take a look at Barrage. So Barrage, it says, fires a continual barrage of arrows at your target for 1.5 seconds, dealing 12% physical damage per arrow. Okay, let's take a look at this.
It might not seem like a lot per arrow, but it fires a lot of arrows.
Now that's
I love all the little numbers.
Do I have multiple charges of this?
No. Right now you only have 1 charge.
Okay.
And we did some iterations with this, and a lot of play testing. And yeah, we changed this back to only having 1 charge, and you can reduce the cooldown of this by completing a weapon combo.
Okay, all right. Let me see this. So if I complete.
So we wanted to see synergy between using the weapons and then using your abilities.
Show that off a little bit later. Talk to me a little bit about Headshot.
Yeah, Headshot, it starts off, so there's ways that you can specialize this that turn it into the execute that it was born as originally. It does pretty high damage, but if you spec it appropriately, it does bonus damage when the target's below 50% health. And if the target is marked, it has 50% reduced cooldown, I believe, with the spec that you have.
Oh, cool.
So-
Okay. So if I have a mark on the target, then I get a 50% cooldown.
Yeah, you get 50% reduced cooldown on headshot.
Mark of the
Nice.
Tiger.
Now, we haven't talked about marks before. You want to talk to me a little bit about the intent behind marks?
This is the Hunt's mechanic.
The intent behind marks is to provide a burst window on the target. Often in other games, it's just bonus damage. This is much more significant on the impact that this will have on the target. It's basically marking the target for death. It has a pretty huge effect. For instance, Mark of the Tiger, it grants 50% bonus critical chance to all attacks striking the target. Mark of the Bear is minus 25% armor, and Mark of the Raven is a bonus hit that occurs every time the target is struck, and it scales up in damage based on how low on health the target is.
Okay, so let me try
I love it.
Mark of the Bear. So this
What do you guys
reduces their
think?
mitigation by 25%. So when I use an ability first, like Headshot, I just did 76 damage. If I were to start Headshot and then I can use the Mark of the Bear while I'm channeling the or casting the Headshot, it will apply to the target while I'm essentially using Headshot. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Keenan and the engineers made us some awesome off.
Ooh.
You might know it in other games as off-global cooldown tech. We call it simultaneous casting, and yeah, that allows you to cast your marks at the same time as other abilities, allowing for very efficient use of time.
Awesome. Okay,
Steven
so
said
that's
the
gone.
FX of the marks looked really cool. That was
66.
super
Wow,
cool.
That's a significant bump.
Yeah, Mark of the Bear is really good against tanky targets.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mark of the Raven. Let's take a look at this. I love the effects. Scott has done such a great job with these.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, I love that he decided to join the VFX team and come over and help us with combat. He's doing a great job so far.
Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, they look great. Very cool. That's awesome. Now, in addition to marks, talk to me, Trad, a little bit about hunts. What are the hunts intended?
Those aren't even the Hunt's mechanic.
For sure. So unlike marks, which are debuffs on the target, hunts are different buffs you can put on yourself. They're both themed pretty similarly. At first, we had started with linking these two concepts directly, like you would put the hunt on yourself and then shoot that hunt out as a mark, and infuse the target with that. But we ended up kind of separating them just to make them a little bit more independently and freely usable. But the theming you can see is the same. We've chosen the tiger, bear, and raven animals, but they're stay tuned for more. And yeah, like you guys are talking about, the visuals for these are really cool. But yeah, these are basically like different buffs that you will put on yourself, and they do tend to have some synergy with their respective thematic creatures.
So I used Mark of the Raven this time. I was doing 96 damage, but that's because I had Hunt of the Raven, which is giving me additional physical penetration. But let me use Mark of the Bear on the target while having that Hunt active. And now instead of doing 117, I'm doing 179. Wow.
Big number.
That's significant. Oh, I'm doing 117 again, but that's because... Let me see. Let me try this. Hold on. Mark of the Tiger. See, no, that's increasing critical chance. Mark of the Bear is magic. Here we go. Let's try that.
I love that the Hunts look like Vixen from DC.
Maybe Keenan doesn't
comics.
have enough armor for the extra
Ah.
health.
Aspect comes
poor
out.
Keenan.
Looks really
Not enough
good.
Armor.
Gray armor.
He's in kind of some newbie gear down there.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
But that is the thing about the armor pen, is that will scale more and more effectively the more armored your target is. So you can think of it as like a counter stat
Very
for people who build that up.
That looks awesome. All right, so now we also have Scattershot, and this is one of our first AoE abilities. Talk to me a little bit about Scattershot.
Yes, like you said, it's a AoE ability. It fires out in a cone in front of you, about 20 meters ahead. And we've got some pretty cool tech with this. The first is we're drawing a targeting decal that only the caster can see to help like align the cast as you're firing it. The second cool thing that we're doing here is you can actually charge the ability into a beam, which is better for lower amount of targets. So if you just want to hit a wide field of targets, you would just quick cast it. But if you were interested in AoEing a specific smaller pack, it'd be more efficient for you to do the charge cast.
Very cool. So if I have to hold the charge to completion to get the additional damage value, essentially.
Yes.
Very cool. Now, this is obviously a big point of feedback that I think people can provide. Obviously, there's a lot of interesting thoughts around subjective, of course, around UI and decal elements that help to communicate kind of these AoEs. As Brian said, this is obviously going to be a decal that is only shown to the caster, not shown across to multiple players. But what is the desire of our community when it comes to showcasing and demonstrating kind of the area of effect for certain types of spells? Do you want something, obviously this is done very elegantly. I think Scott did this one as well. I think it looks great.
Yes.
But this is something that is a point of feedback that we want to collect from players as you guys get to kind of play through Alpha 2, and as you're seeing these these updates, what do you enjoy most about conveying these area of effects? And this isn't the only area of effect spell we have. We also have Airstrike, and we've
Everybody's
seen Airstrike
favorite
in the past as well. But this one's received a little bit of TLC. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and just real quick, the reason why you're hearing my voice a lot is I'm the owner of the Rangers, so
Yes.
I'm in charge of this class, so that's why I'm the one that's why you're hearing my voice a lot. Anyways, Airstrike, we gave this an update. We replaced the particle effects because they were way too laggy. So yeah, Scott again did a pass on these. They look amazing.
Feels really crisp.
We also let you have air control with this, so you can steer it while you're in the air. And we fine-tuned the animation. I believe Alex put in some time to make sure that it's holding you only for the right amount. It's not grabbing you and locking you in place weirdly on landing. We really polished up how it feels whenever you use it. So it's just really seamless and nice to use. Oh, and the effect that it's providing, if you actually hit
Enrique,
a target with
prepare
it,
to break the game.
It does pretty big damage and also roots the target. So this is a really good skill. Whenever your tank pulls in a big pack of monsters, you just airstrike over top of it, lock it all down in place, and then you and your mages blow up the pack.
I think it looks great. The animation changes that Alex did look awesome. The additional functionality that you guys incorporated as part of controlling the air movement, I think, is something that people are going to love. Obviously, Airstrike also is a significant mechanical benefit for the Ranger because it's, in addition to damage, is also a CC effect. Talk to me a little bit about the CC that Airstrike conveys, and what's its intended purpose like in combat. I mean, there's mobility associated with it, there's damage associated with it, there's CC. It's kind of has a broad spectrum of effect conveyed.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful ability and has a long cooldown because it's providing that wide spectrum of effect. The Ranger is one of the most mobile classes. It's second to the Rogue only. So this is part of how we're providing that mobility benefit. And yeah, whenever you hit targets, they're rooted in place. They cannot move. So it's very effective as an escape tool, but also a hard engage tool that
out of
kind
bounds
puts you
incoming.
at risk, but if you got a tank and a cleric at your back, maybe that's the right calculus for your play.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Let us try Thundering Shot. Talk to me a little bit about Thundering Shot.
Bring the lightning.
Yeah, this is definitely a favorite ability on the team by a lot of people. It shoots a lightning arrow.
Yeah, the
at
airborne
the target,
stuff is
and
going to be very
if you're far
cool.
enough away, I believe the conversion range is 10 meters. It does an additional AoE explosion around the target.
Ooh, okay. So that did 96. Let's see if I'm closer. Ah. Okay, so it does variable amount of damage, and also it changes it to be AoE around the target.
But when do I get my
Yeah,
boxing
so you
glove
get more
arrow?
damage. We wanted to have some abilities in the kit At least with the showcase that we're showing right now, where it's range focused, where there is some advantage for staying at range, and also there's some advantage for closing on a ranger.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Next up, we have another lightning ability, but this one's called Lightning Reload. Talk to me a little bit about Lightning Reload, Trad.
Sure. This one's more of a self-buff effect. When you put it on yourself, it will allow you to use one of a few abilities without spending its cooldown. So I believe a couple of them are like Snipe, Headshot, Thundering Shot, ones we've already been through.
Okay.
If you pop that first, you get about a 5-second window, and if you use one of those abilities within that window, it will not trigger the CD, meaning you
Big
can use
burst.
it twice back to back. You can also even use something that's already on cooldown by popping that first, so it's not like you have to already have it available.
Oh, okay.
So you can use it in a lot of pinches.
So this is another concurrent channel effect that I can use. Brian, what are some of the cool combos with this?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is the triple headshot combo. So if a target is marked, headshot on them has 50% reduced cooldown if you're spec'd for it. So what you can do is you can mark someone, you can headshot, and as you're charging up the first headshot, throw a mark. And then whenever the headshot hits, you lightning reload, and then you get 2 more headshots right after that. And it makes a really nasty combo for finishing off a target that's already below 50% health, because you're getting that bonus damage on headshot too at that point, which makes its efficiency per second higher than Snipe.
Okay, so with Mark of the Raven,
Big bursty.
okay,
Rotational
which one gives
synergy.
the
Alpha
mark
2
that
hasn't
you
even been
talked
released
about
yet.
for headshot?
Oh, any of the marks will do it.
Okay,
any of the
cool.
marks will provide 50% reduced cooldown on headshot.
All right, and I currently have Hunt, Physical Penetration, but we've already determined that you don't have enough physical mitigation. So let us do Hunt of the Tiger,
Let's see big damage.
and let us apply Mark of the Bear on you while we're casting 3. So it's going to be 3 shift 4, and then you said lightning reload and 3 twice more.
Yes.
Should I start with Snipe first?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, so Snipe.
Give us a
for
rotation,
3
Steven.
while doing Mark of the Bear. All right, let's try
Yeah.
that.
I'm gonna need some heals, Trad.
Really?
Oh, but you know what? I did that with the cooldown set to
Yeah.
nothing. Oh no, hold on. Let me set that back to 1. Okay, so this is the normal cooldown frequency. Okay. Oh,
Not representative of real gameplay.
correct. Yes. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to do the Mark of the Bear. All right, here we go. Ooh, okay, very cool. Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it feels pretty crisp, and yeah, if Keenan was below half health there, he would have taken. I mean, he might
It's a
have died.
big
Oh
dub.
my God, Keenan.
Not with me as his healer.
I know. You're too good.
All right, let me set cooldowns back. Let me max my mana. Okay, we've showed off lightning reload. Next up, I have Bear Trap. Talk to me a little bit about Bear Trap.
Yes, Bear Trap. So we went through a couple iterations on this. We wanted a very solid trap ability. It's right in the name. But often in games they're either too small, they activate too short, they're just not, or they don't last long enough. There's lots of ways for a trap to suck. And we think we got Bear Trap in a decent spot where it's pretty usable. You can pre-place them on the ground. They last for, I believe, 30 seconds after you place them. So it's a very strategic ability, allowing for zone control. You can place these in between you and a hostile target and kite them into it. You can make like a little trap wall in front of you so that if people are closing on you, or rather you're setting up a gank and you want to set that up beforehand, so whenever there's a counterattack, you're already prepared for it.
Very cool.
It definitely benefits that strategically minded player.
Very nice. That looks that feels great. Can I hit my own?
Mid
Bear Trap?
combat traps are very,
No,
very
definitely.
I
important.
hope not.
But if I did, I'd have Call of the Wild.
Yes.
Talk
Maybe
to me about
we should
Call of
just
the
show that
Wild.
one.
Yeah. Maybe what does Called Wild do?
It is a CC break and a movement buff. So if you get hit with a nasty stun or something, you can just break out of it and run away.
Ooh, that was cool. I love the effects. That looked awesome. Wait, let's try that one more time. So I'm running along. Give me a stun.
I gotta wait for the cooldown. Try it with the trap or something.
It's definitely very large, but bears inside of Era just
The
might be that
Ranger's a
big.
fairly fragile class overall, so if they get a stun on them and it doesn't get cleansed, then
Here, I'll do it again.
it,
Alright,
they'd
here
be
we go.
very
I definitely
nasty.
think it's a little big, but
Ooh, that was good. That's great.
Yeah,
Very
all of
cool.
our archetypes will have their own versions of CC breaks, just because that is one of the things where players want.
and there is
answers
an
to those
easy way
kinds
to
of
make it smaller
situations,
too. You just turned it into like
that'll be
those
part of your spec
chompers
choice, right? Is
from
how
Super
much
Mario
do you want
Brothers.
to build into your
placed on the
ability to
ground, and then it
resist and
launches
break
at
CC
any players
versus,
that trigger the
just be
trap.
like a raw glass cannon, and accepting those risks. That all factors into like the decision making when it comes to specs.
Yeah, one of the pillars that we're trying to build combat on top of is giving players the true feeling of agency, like they're really in control of their character
Mhm.
and what happens to their character, rather than just watching stuff happen to their character that they have no impact on.
Oh,
Feels
it
so good.
Keenan,
Ah.
come over here. Let me.
We said the exact
let me
same thing at
try
the same
this
time.
Next ability, Raining Death. I love the name of that, by the way.
Time to black out the sun.
Feels like a perfect like band name for a heavy metal group.
Yeah, like a Slayer song.
I know. All right, very
Yes.
cool.
So Raining Death is also using a caster side targeting decal. So again, only the caster is seeing that targeting decal. And that allows them to line it up a little bit better and make sure they're hitting the targets that they want to hit. And another thing to note is we are making the spread of projectiles a little more even and dense. So yeah, as you notice, there's some spots in the decal that don't look like they're getting hit. They are actually getting hit because of this homing arrow tech. There's actually a hitbox that's being drawn there, and every target within that hitbox is getting a homing arrow fired at it. Actually, 2 homing arrows fired at it. So it is hitting stuff, even though it might not look like it right now. We're gonna improve that a little bit more. And Scattershot has a little bit of the same thing going on, where the spread's not really perfect, but yeah, that's currently in progress with our VFX artists to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a good representation of like where we've been trying to find a balance between making these abilities feel organic and not super like templated to use, but at the same time, at the end of the day, like gameplay is the name of the game, and we want these things to be reliable and consistent, both from the users and
Oh my
look
God.
at that, you're
Oh,
taking
no.
advantage of the fact that I'm talking.
he just turned
I
into
should have
ash.
expected that from you.
Melted.
He just turned into ash.
It's okay, I rezzed him.
Oh,
You
that
gotta
was
roll.
so good. That was so good. That was little ash
I
loot piles
forgot
on the
what I was
ground.
saying.
I forgot
I
what you were
dropped some
saying. too.
stuff.
I think that's
That was
definitely
a great
fair.
Effect. I think Siva worked
Clean
on it.
but cluttered.
Excuse me.
I think it just needs to
Siva
be
worked
like
on that as well
toned
as
down a bit, a little bit more
uh,
transparent.
Re-author as well.
But yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Raining Death is an example where we iterate on these abilities multiple times, and sometimes it requires a complete rebuild. This is, I think, the 3rd complete rebuild of that ability, because the previous versions just weren't good enough for our players. They were more direct fire projectile based, which is pretty cool because you see there's a direct connection between the projectile and dealing damage. But we found a solution where we can simulate the appearance of all the projectiles hitting, and then we can also have a homing volume underneath that. So it's very reliable while also looking super.
Out of mana, sorry, Keenan.
Oh no,
Oh,
Keenan.
not cluttered. Sorry, the little heart was in the way of the knot.
Oh, he's corrupted. Look at that.
Oh, did
Oh,
I
man.
turn
I think it's
corrupt?
just a tad too
Oh,
bright.
I gotta take advantage of it.
Oh no. No, wait a minute. I have no cooldown.
You pissed off the cleric.
How did I go corrupt?
By killing an innocent player.
It does seem like they've done away with
Ooh, nice.
Oh, we did
action
it!
combat, though.
Okay, wait.
Close one.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Let me get back to what I was doing. All right, sorry. So,
See, Steven's a good player, guys.
yay! How dare you? Just because I show at a lower APM so everyone can see the fidelity of the effects and the gameplay around the environment and the NPCs doesn't mean I don't have a little bit of what is it called? Juice?
We'll just call it a dark side.
What is it called? The juice box? I can't remember.
Yeah.
All right. So we showed off a little bit of the bear claw. I mean, the
My
bear trap,
guess the colors would be tied to
Call of the Wild. We
the,
went through Lightning Reload.
the four
Thundering Shot. We
schools of
talked about the
augmentation.
marks and the different hunts that exist. We have disengage to show.
Yes.
That would just be my hunch.
Disengage. Whenever you only have the ability, and you haven't unlocked any of the passives involved with disengage, it'll shoot you right back whenever you press it. So it's really good for creating space between you and some targets that are charging at you. You can just hit disengage and you'll flip back.
All right, let me try that now.
You check out the description. This was on my bingo card.
And yeah, like Steven's
backflip
demonstrating, you can
disengage.
also use it for traversal.
Very cool.
Something that we learned with disengage, though, is people have different preferences for how they want this ability to activate. There's some people who've played a lot of Ranger who are just like, you know what, I don't want to have to spin my camera around to press disengage, and to be able to go forward. I just want it to go forward when I press the button. So we made this omnidirectional disengage option,
And
which
it's
costs zero skill points.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. But in the future,
So
that'll be
that's
a
very
kind
cool.
of an ability option that you can choose, right? Not necessarily through a passive effect.
Right.
That's the intent.
Correct.
Yes, that is the intent. We still need to do some work on how we're gonna like display that to the player to make sure it's as apparent as a spec option, right? Because that's very apparent that you have that choice. And it can often be lame in games whenever how to min-max is
Oh, yeah.
all in the
Movement
options menu.
is
But
the name of
we're
the
gonna make
game
sure that
for
that's nice and clean
my
for our players,
Ranger
and it's very
specifically.
apparent, the options that they have available to them. But yeah, whenever you have
That's
the
very
omnidirectional
clutch
option
that they
engage,
added that.
now whenever you're pressing a movement key, disengage will send you in that direction instead of straight back.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, and then last but not least, and then we'll go up to the to the environment and just kind of play together a little bit, is the imbue ammo. Talk to me about imbue ammo.
Yep, so imbue ammo, whenever you cast it, it'll imbue your next, currently they're set up to imbue your next 10 shots, and this will probably go through another iteration, but currently it imbues your next 10 shots with a special effect. So we've got weighted ammo, concussive ammo, and barbed ammo right now. We're probably going to add more in the future. These are ammo imbues, so you're imbuing your next 10 shots with this effect. Weighted ammunition is a snaring effect, barbed is a bleed effect, and concussive is a stagger effect. Stagger reduces accuracy and evasion.
Nice. Okay.
And it
Keenan.
also increases trip duration. So
Very
go ahead.
cool. Keenan, try just kind of running down this path, and let me do some weighted shots.
Another element of detail that I really like that you were down for going for, Steven, was it actually changing the appearance of the ammunition whenever you're firing it.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you load up weighted shot, it will actually swap your bullets that you're firing, not bullets, your arrows that you're firing to look the part. And it swaps, currently it swaps over both basic attacks and barrage.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, if you want to cast your ammo and then cast barrage, you can show that off.
Let's do it. Let me do probably. Let's do weighted as you're running again. Let's try that. That's so cool. Very cool. All right, let me set my cooldowns to something that's representative of real gameplay, although I have far more abilities than I should at level 7, but that's okay. And I will join your party now. Oh no.
If we can even invite you.
No, you can, you can.
Oh,
I'm only
nice, okay.
corrupted. I mean, I'm not like a monster. Come on now.
That's true, true.
Now you might, however, flag when you heal me, but you know, that's okay.
We'll see.
What do we got over here? Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Whoops. Oh, wow.
Nice.
The the snipe followed the target. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of aim offset there in animation that we did.
Yeah, that looks great.
Quite a few of the bow abilities do it actually. It's just a lot more obvious with snipe.
Yeah, headshot's another one. As long as it's within a certain angle, it'll try to maintain tracking of the target. And yeah, the way that we pulled it off, it's not like affecting your control rotation at all. It's just an appearance thing.
Oh, it feels good. Feels very good.
Yeah, it did not feel this good a while ago. I really want to give credit to our playtesting process. This was in a much rougher state a couple months ago.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we get in the game, we play test it the same way that the players will be play testing it to make sure that it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. I think one of the great things that your team has done is you've really defined your iterative loop, right? And obviously the most important aspect of that loop is going to be the playtesting aspect, which you guys playtest. I mean, I think every day, right? With NPC team and the world team, in helping to define, obviously not just the player character and the abilities you guys are authoring, but also the playable space and the playable enemies that you're encountering as part of this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to note even when we're not in official playtests, like when we're building these things, we make it a key point to be playing the stuff as we're building it. Like the designers aren't just making stuff on paper and handing it off. Like we're in the tools, we're building these things, and we're in a game environment. And it's, I think part of the reason that these things come together so nicely is we can like build them in real time and play them in real time as we do so.
Yeah, I mean it is.
It'll help, guys.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm just
Gotcha.
taking in the view a little bit over here because it is a beautiful view.
It is definitely beautiful. And I love all the verticality.
Yeah,
on our
Strange,
maps, but
you're missing out on
has definitely
an
forced
amazing
us to
stream thus
make
far.
abilities in a better way.
Sorry, Otto.
If
I
we
was
just had flat
asking some
arenas like every
questions
other game,
to
it would be way easier to make all this
Ashes
stuff,
of
but
Creation in the
that's why
Twitch
we're
chat
forced to make
regarding
the
using
cool
wands
homing
as a ranger,
hitbox tech that both
and
Scattershot
if that
Raining does,
affects
because
the
we're
visual
playtesting
elements
in the
of
environment, we're figuring out
bow-focused
what works or what doesn't,
stuff.
and then we're adjusting and building new stuff to fit.
Strange. They also uploaded this to their YouTube channel already,
Feels so good.
so you can watch it from the beginning, like
Love
right
the
now,
power
if you
of this
wanted.
here.
But the abilities are
Obviously, we
looking
have a
real
big
good.
showcase next month with regards to PvP in a more raid format, and you guys are going to be seeing some changes that are done to the mage effects as well. Yeah.
We'll see if they
So, yeah,
answer
working
my
on the
wands question.
Scott
They were
and
actually
Steve, I
answering
believe,
it a
are
couple
both working
times.
on the mage next, so that'll be very exciting to see that get another pass. Because
How about a pass on like the
really throw
rogue
down the particle effects.
or the summoner, man?
Absolutely. Wow, that was a big pull, actually.
Shredded.
I love this area. And the
Yeah,
mixture
they
of,
stopped
creatures here is kinda
they
interesting.
stopped answering. So hopefully that gets to the
I actually
the
like,
questions
Raven has
after.
gone through a bunch of iterations, but I do like the current iteration of it. It could be a little bit more deadly, but I think it's fulfilling its role of like that popcorn mob. It's super annoying, but you can kill it really fast if you focus it down. Then it won't give you as many issues.
Oh man, you just one-shot
I
that thing?
just one-shot that raven.
By the way, Steven, isn't that shard over there like kind of more relevant?
Which one? Oh, good call. Yeah, we should talk a little bit about this zone. So this is a small point of interest within the Riverlands area. Obviously, we're in the Riverlands. It is winter. And this particular location, called the Gem Spring,
Yeah, the
is,
summoner was teased.
a remnant, a shard remnant.
And the
of
rogue
one of
was on the
Harbingers,
plan to be at
that broke off
Alpha
and,
2 launch.
actually
So
has
I think the
begun
Rogue's
some
still going to make it in there.
interesting Interaction with Essence within this area. So those of you guys who are going to be participating in
Yeah,
Alpha
seeing
2, this
disengage,
notification
seeing
will
a
have some
more
related quests, and this gives you an idea
accessible
about the
trap
types of
ability, seeing the hunts and the mark systems being two different systems. That's going to open up
what do
a
you say? Should we
huge
just-
plethora
should we just
of
do like a
opportunities
massive
for the
AoE?
augment system.
Oh gosh. All right.
Do you want to
Take
pull
out
them?
these mushrooms.
Yeah.
Get it all. Get
Keep
it
them
all.
in chains though. I got an AoE down. Pull them back in.
Get as many as you can.
Oh my god.
Yeah, big chungus pull.
Big Chungus pull. Good grief.
I'm gonna go all the way around.
Yeah, hopefully they took my question to the let's answer this on stream.
Oh.
'Cause,
Oh, God.
Here they
They
come.
decided not to answer me anymore. I got two
Okay,
answers
where
though.
You at? Where you at?
They're right here. Oh, they leashed.
We need some AoE.
Okay, we
Steven?
got some of them. That wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad.
Fortunately, these guys are just kind of slow.
Little mycelium. Let's take a look at their.
Huh? Not the ravens though.
Ooh, the ravens are quick.
I love that you can control your directional of airstrike. I think that's super, super cool.
Oh, they push you out of the way. Woo! That was awesome. We cleaned up this place. That was very cool.
Yeah, I really need to get some better gear. My damage is terrible.
I wonder if there is something for us.
If
to
you're tuning in
discover
and
at the
watching, be
top.
sure to subscribe to the channel, like the stream. You know, if you're enjoying what we're doing thus far. Hopefully I can do this more often.
These poor spiders.
Wait, that's a named mob.
Oh no! Oh no! Is it really?
Yeah. That's got like
Okay.
2.5k health.
Alright.
It's just a bigger spider.
Wait a
I just want to
Three times
see
the normal spiders.
Steven do the
See?
backflip disengage, drop down a trap, and then do that execute combo. That's what I want to see. There's the disengage. Drop a trap down, Steven.
No. It is, it has a lot of hit points here.
It really does.
I need a tank.
I'm trying. My damage is just so bad.
I'm gonna get some
You don't need a
raven
tank.
Mark. Wait for it.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, I think we leashed him.
Oh no. Kill him
Oh,
quick.
No, kill him.
Kill him.
Kill him.
Snare him.
Oh
Ooh.
no! Oh no!
Wow. That's a classic moment right there.
All right, let's.
There's
take
only
it down.
one
Let's take it
trap
down.
thus
Come on.
far. It's the
Alright, I'll
F
use-
ability. It's called Bear Trap. It looks really big on the ground, but functionally you can place it at any point and it's like an instant place. So it's actually super functional that it doesn't have like a cast time associated to it. He just threw it down, so
He doesn't hit that hard, so.
he threw it down on a mob that wasn't moving.
Got him.
They smoked
We
that
did it.
spider that time, though.
Yay.
We have done it. We have done the thing. Look at this view. Good God, man. It looks so good.
It looks so good.
How do we climb up here? Where are you going?
I'm just getting a better view.
Okay, hold on. Oh,
This is nice.
yeah, this is the Carfins in the distance.
It's a familiar
Ooh.
point of interest.
It looks beautiful. Holy
Something over
smokes.
here.
Where?
Over yonder, around the rock.
I'm coming. I'm on my way. Oh, what is that? What is that?
They've done this before.
He gets a little sandal surprise left to us from our.
He's gonna
lovely
backflip up
environment
there.
artists.
It probably
Ooh!
belongs to
Oh.
that spider back there.
No, we found its nest. Its
Yeah,
sandal
forgot.
nest. We killed it, and it had a sandal nest in adoration to the
Colts of Sandal reigns
sandal-
supreme.
wisdom. This looks amazing. Oh, I love it. Tristan and the environment team must have done a
Cult of Sandal
an
reigns
awesome job
supreme.
here. Some of these, I've never seen the sandal tree before. That's new. That's different. I wonder if the wind speed affects it. I see the sandals.
It does.
moving. Oh, does it really?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That is so awesome. Oh, is there like a little jump puzzle? Can you get up there?
You can. I don't know if you can get on the big
Aw,
tree.
That looks awesome. Well, guys,
Strider's
thank
gonna
you
be
for
cool.
joining me and showcasing all the hard work that you and the many members of the team have devoted to obviously upgrading our basic weapon attacks, the ranged weapons, the ranger archetype. You know, the zone is beautiful. The monsters are cool. Everything is shaping up very nicely. As a great
And we
showcase
finally
for the
got
year.
a
And
different
guys,
race
you're
model.
watching out there in the community. Obviously, we do these so that we can get your feedback. Oh no! Okay, we did it. So that we can get your feedback on things that you saw today. What did you think looked great? What things would you change? This is, look at that beautiful creek down there. My God, what a great winter wonderland. So please make sure to participate in our forums, on the social media, YouTube, video, everything. Talk to us about what you enjoyed today.
Since it's standing straight
and how
up,
you
I
like
think
the
it's a
direction of the
female
archetypes and
Renkai. There's
classes and combat,
husks.
how everything's going.
You can
I
see
know it means
husks
a lot
there.
to Brian, Trav,
But that could be a
everybody
female
else in the
Vec as
combat
well, but
team,
they're
for you guys to give
they
your
haven't
feedback.
I don't know if they're supposed to have that
Trav, Brian,
contorted
Keaton,
look.
Thank you for joining me and showcasing all your guys' hard work. This was great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Guys, we'll see you back on stream to close out 2023. Bye, everybody.
See y'all.
Cheers.
Overall, I know you came in real late, Strange, but overall, what do you guys think out of 10?
Welcome back, everybody. It seems like y'all really enjoyed it. So while we are answering your questions, Steven's got that glare going. He does really love when the sunbeams come in.
I'm
so-
sorry. Maybe I can fix that.
It's
Wait
those giant
for it.
windows you have.
How about now?
Now it's ruined your composition. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Of course, we love seeing all. Oh, sorry about the title here. We love seeing all of the wonderful comments in chat. You
Yes.
all were very, very happy. So that makes us really happy. Our combat team has been killing it, and I know that
Yes,
some of them
they
were very
have.
nervous.
Well, it's always a nervous thing to share your passion and your, the work that the team has been putting into this, right? We're doing this because we want to hit a bar that is acceptable and will make our community proud and make us proud, right? As developers.
Yeah, I think it was
The
a
reason we
big
do
W
is
this stream.
because we want to make people happy.
That looked
in their
fun.
choice of entertainment, and we're all MMO gamers. But it's been very validating and positive to see you guys give us the response that, hey, you're going in the right direction, right? It may not be final, it may not be fully polished. There's still outstanding
Oh,
work to do,
lots of work to
obviously,
do.
right? But like, hey, each showcase after each showcase is an improvement, is a positive direction that we get to yield from the feedback that you guys give us. Because as this is playing, Margaret and I are like watching the chat. We're collecting the questions. We're evaluating what the commentary is. And a lot of the stuff you guys say, it's like, hey, this is already planned. That's great. That's perfect. We're validating our approach. It's a very positive interaction. It's one that I'm glad to see has been adopted a bit more so over the recent years in the industry for game development as a whole, which is to engage with the community at an earlier phase. And this is the produce of that interaction, right? This is what comes from that. And so we're very happy to share it with you, and we're glad
And
to see your
we're-
guys' response to it.
We're also really thankful. There's been a lot of content creators who have been rating us today or watching simultaneously. So this is for you guys. Thank you all. We really appreciate it. I know in the moment we don't always have time to like divert and say thank you there. But we are trying to power through to ensure that we don't take up people's time too much.
I was
Go ahead.
on Asmongold's stream Asmongold's stream watching their community over there and their commentary, and it seemed very positive as well. I loved it. It was great to see a broader audience than just our golden cohort here on the stream with some positive reception. It was very, very good to see.
Yeah. Of course, like Steven said, Wagner and Roshan have been collecting questions as well as we've been adding some. So we're going to try to get through some of them. We won't get through a ton of questions because we'll be here all day if we answer everything, but we'll try to power through as many as we can. I do want to reiterate at the beginning, Steven did mention that he didn't have the cooldowns active so that he could show
Yes.
the abilities more frequently.
Just fine.
So just again, reminder of that. The
Yeah.
first question here is, what kind of utility abilities will Rangers have? Because that's something that we didn't really showcase there.
For sure. And before I get to the utility question, I just want to say, as you guys watch these demonstrations, particularly prior to our Alpha 2, and even during Alpha 2, like balance is not something we really dive into at all during this phase, right?
No.
We obviously do a finger in the wind pass on balance, but balance requires a lot of logging and data from playtesting. That is the goal of Alpha 2. But if you see things like cooldowns, like damage numbers, those things
We shall
are very
see,
subject to
Strange. We
change.
shall
Balance of
see.
They're very
abilities with classes
easy.
and things like that, or types and
Absolutely.
classes.
And it's very easy to tune those things. So just keep that in mind as we move into Alpha 2.
It's
The
all
difference
math,
between
guys.
data and creating a whole
Content.
animation or a whole
Yeah.
VFX and stuff like that. They're just trying to get the look and feel down, and then the data.
You
side
saw
of
the
it
tank get
is
melted?
something that they'll
For
be
sure.
tweaking.
That was
And you'll
funny.
be seeing a lot of those changes in beta as we get into that phase where we're really polishing and
Absolutely.
really fixing bugs and making sure that we're in a state where we're like, hey, now we're balancing. And we'll make that clear
Yeah.
to you all, like, hey, we want balance feedback. Right now, we're not asking for that.
Absolutely. Some of the utility skills that we think about when we design the archetypes, are how they counter and react to other archetypes. So, for example, a ranger is we think about that class fantasy of perception, right? A ranger is kind of in the outskirts. They're keeping their range. They're watching what's happening, and they have good perception. So when we think about utilities, some of the examples of those utilities might be a rogue has invisibility. How do you address invisibility? Well, a ranger might have a utility ability that spawns a hound that trails
Sniffs them
invisible
out.
targets within an AoE radius of the ranger, and you get that location. Whereas a mage might have an arcane eye that actually reveals them to the party or the raid. Like those are the types of utility
Mage
skills
summoner.
that we want to create. They offer counters and horizontal progression against the other archetype abilities that give them certain types of benefits. And that's how you create that rock, paper, scissors type of interaction between the classes so that there's not, there's always going to be a meta, but you chip away at the relevancy of that meta when metas are highly situational, and utility spells are the responses to situational interactions.
What about, I think in the past we had shown where rangers could track people.
Yeah,
with
this
tracks
would
and
be a
stuff like
form of that
yeah.
tracking. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yep.
The next one was, can you stack your marks?
Right now, marks are not intended to be stacked. Right now, marks will I believe marks will, if this is still the case, marks will override the previously applied mark. And the benefit of that is we're not outscaling the mark efficacy too much by allowing them to stack. It gives us more power to place on each individual mark when we know that they'll be replaced if you use them. So they're very unique to kind of the situation.
Yeah,
that
it'd
you
be
need
silly
mark
to have
for,
them stack.
but you can quickly kind of swap between them.
The next one is, tank has resolve, cleric has divine power. What does ranger have?
Nothing as of right now.
It is the interaction between the hunts and the marks.
Yeah.
That is something that we're going to be focusing in on a little bit more. Right now, that is still something that the combat team is working on for the ranger class.
And then we have, would one of the skill tree selections allow for a targeting reticle to be used?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there was a slight bug with the
yeah, that's why I
action camera
asked
mode
if
for
you can
this
use a
particular
wand
display, and we didn't
in
have
the
time to
chat,
fix
which
it
they
in
said you
time.
could.
Brian was
And
using
I
it
asked-
whenever he was doing a practice.
I
runs.
know.
if you
I
can
know,
use
and
the
I
bow
tried
focused
using
abilities with the
action
wand,
in
and
the
they
first,
said
attempt at this
probably
recording,
not.
and it bugged out for
So-
us, and we didn't have time to fix it. So
we'll see if they
we went
address
ahead
that
without
here.
That. But to answer your question, will these abilities? The question was, will these abilities work with action camera? Is that the question?
Yeah. No. It's would one of the skill tree selections allow for a targeting reticle to be used?
So targeting reticle is applied when you swap to the action camera mode. So that wouldn't be a part of the skill tree selection. It would just be an option that you can switch to by pressing Z currently. That uses a soft lock system for the targeting reticle.
I think the follow up here would be, especially for folks who really like ranged stuff, is being able to customize your reticle.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. From a UI perspective, just customizing the reticle shape. Absolutely. There will be a number of different reticle types that you can use.
Get on it, Colby and Co. No,
They already have a few.
I'm just
Actually,
messing,
they
I'm just messing.
yeah.
Next up, we've got what's the counterplay that a melee archetype has against a ranger? How can you avoid being
Sure.
killed by the targeted shots?
Yeah, it depends on the melee, right? If we're talking about fighter, they're going to have a lot of heavy gap closers. They can probably be a little bit more liberal in the use of their gap closers because they have so many of them, versus, let's say, a ranger that needs to choose when to use their escape abilities because they have fewer of them. The same would be true for a melee character like a rogue. Their approach vector is going to be more stealth driven than it would be perhaps, let's say, from a gap closer perspective. So they're going to stealth into position, and then that's where you're tracking your ability use for your getaway abilities.
And then is there
And then
go
real
ahead.
quick, the other thing
Go
is
ahead.
lockdowns as well, right? Melee users are likely going to have a number of different CCs to choose from, whether that be slowing the target, rooting the target, stunning the target. And
That's
then those
where
allow them to
gear
get optimal
variety
combos.
comes in
And yes,
strange.
rangers can do it like once, but what you saw
If you can
from,
equip
the reason
arcane
why
gear
Mark likes
onto
to
a
do it,
more physically based
and one of it
class,
was
now
because they didn't
you're
have
doing
cooldowns,
more
but there is a
arcane
cooldown on
damage,
it,
or
so
you're
yeah, you might be able to
increasing
get away
the
from one of them, but
effectiveness
let's
of your
say you put
arcane
another one, and
skills
then,
or augments.
they're kind of SOL.
Yeah, that's my
The
fear.
next
Straight out of
question,
luck.
yeah. And then we've got, is there going to be spell pushback when being hit? And if so, will the fast shooting short bow punish cast bar more? So if you're shooting
interesting question.
really
Yeah.
fast, will it push back casters?
No, there is not just a native pushback that exists for ranged attacks. Some attacks do have pushback effects, and also casters can experience a delay in their cast time due to concentration failures. So concentration is a stat that's associated with one of our primary attributes being um, a derivative waterfall for concentration checks. When concentration fails due to damage that's done, it is going to increase that casting time slightly. It won't interrupt it completely, but it will increase the casting time. But pushback is not a native effect that lives on any particular type of attack. It is something that is accompanying a specific ability.
All right. And then why did you move away from arrows being projectiles?
Arrows are still projectiles.
I'm not sure where they came
Yes,
from that.
arrows are. I think maybe what they're referring to is more on the action side. So when we refer to projectiles, we're talking about hit scan verse projectiles. We are still using projectiles, but we are using a locking mechanism in tab targeting for those projectiles to home to the target. Should you have a valid angle in that perspective, the action side of that is that you can blind fire projectiles, and should a target move within the line of attack that the projectile is moving in, a great example of this is the orb ball that is lightning, which is kind of moving forward. You don't necessarily have to have a target to aim that at. You just move that slowly as it moves through the path. If another target moves and you're leading that target, it will strike the target. So we have blind fire currently. We're still going to be doing some touching up with the action combat side prior to Alpha 2. Right now, when you have your reticle over a target, it has a soft lock on the target, and you can, rapidly move between that in action mode with the reticle if you wish.
And then I think kind of a follow up to this is if I'm a tank and I get in the way of a shot of a ranger.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you are able
Yeah.
to like kind of block
And there
and
are
be,
certain
yeah.
and there are certain battlefield
Body
abilities
blocking.
that you can use. You won't be able to just body block it, right? Not all projectiles can be body blocked. Some potentially can, but there will be certain abilities and effects like a shield wall that can be brought up, and that will obscure line of sight to the target as well, and it will restrict some of those attacks from occurring.
Fabulous. Our next one here is, if I use wands or swords as a ranger, am I locked out of half of my kit because of the ranged abilities that are connected to a short bow or a long bow?
So right now we are still kind of approaching how we want the character paper doll between ranged weapons, bows or otherwise, to exist. Our thought process is
Oh,
currently
can I interject
that
one thing?
yes, absolutely,
There's a lot of
yes,
new people who are with us. And so
yeah,
people are like, Rangers can't use wands. The way that we have been building our product is that anybody can use any weapon,
Mm-hmm.
any armor. You may
yes,
not always be
and
viable in every situation, but that
They're
is the
answering
case.
my
And then
question.
go ahead, Stephen. I just wanted to,
correct.
I just saw
And
the
just for
chat. So
those of you who are new, last month we did do a little showcase on crafting, which talks a little bit about itemization and how you can, through certain recipes and material uses, augment the types of stats that live on certain itemizations to be relevant across all the different archetypes, right? So there is a bit of choice when it comes to players that craft these items on whether or not they want to have physical damage values versus magical damage values. And that leads to a very competitive, healthy open market, which is something that is integral to Ashes of Creation. But as it relates to Rangers being able to use certain abilities with bows equipped, some abilities will require bows to be equipped. And those abilities can be used with a bow and not without bows.
And for those of you who are newer to how we have our classes set up is that you have a primary archetype and a secondary archetype. And that secondary archetype can really dive into other things, like maybe you're a ranger, but you're a summoner secondary, or you're a ranger and you're a mage secondary. And that might be more viable for carrying a wand versus having
Right.
a bow. So I'm just trying to give some
Correct.
perspective on that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of customization options, right? Your primary archetype is the delivery vehicle for
The
your
augment
active
of something like
abilities.
Snipe
Your
that they just
secondary
showed
archetype
could
augments
make
those
it
active abilities into
into
something
a
else, but
wand
doesn't give you
ability.
new active abilities, right? And so that's
It
something
kind of
very
creates your
important to keep in
class.
mind.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then
Okay.
people did see this in there, but I think reiterating to make it clear, they were wondering, can you move while casting all of the ranger abilities?
Not all of them. Some of them root the target. For example, snipe is one that does restrict your ability to move. But the vast majority, yes, you can move. Now, there is a slight movement penalty that's applied for a lot of those abilities, the ones that can move. But for the most part, yes, this is a very mobile archetype approach.
And of course, you know, the locking down of making you not be able to move while you're casting certain abilities is a balancing factor, right? So that's
Yeah,
something that the development and design team can work on to be like, ooh, okay, this is very powerful. So maybe it isn't something you can do while you're moving. So kind of keeping
yeah.
that in mind. They'll balance it to make sure that it makes sense for the type of ability and kind of what type of damage or whatever its effects are.
For sure. So just to dial in a little bit there, abilities are vehicles for conferring effects onto a target, right? And as you were describing balance-wise, there's a number of different interactions mechanically that you have within an ability that you can adjust in order to balance its power. The most common ones are cooldown, mana consumption, damage done, effect status conferred, promotion of that effect status, range. Those are the kind of primary methods by which
And
you
not the
adjust.
only.
Correct. Yes,
He's
that's
just going
correct.
off the top of his head. I just
There's a
want to
lot
remind
of
people.
there's a lot of different things that play into that, but those are the primary mechanical constructs of a particular ability, right? And so, for example, we were talking about airstrike, how it confers a lot of different effects onto a target, being that it does damage, being that it's used for mobility, being that it also applies a CC effect. And so, in order to balance that, not talking about specific numbers that it does, or the length of the CC effect, or the opposed stat check for that particular CC effect, and the mana consumption, it's also the cool cooldown. It's a very big ability with a large cooldown effect. So you want to use it and manage your resources. And those of you who are MMO players, you know all this. You want to manage your resources effectively.
All right. And I think you're already talking about balancing and maybe more specifically towards Ranger. I think that generally the overwhelming everyone was really excited for the Ranger. They loved
Sure.
seeing it. They thought it was cool. But there was definitely a mix of what people felt was not balanced. So I don't know if
Well,
if you can go. We already discussed that
It's a
we're not in the balancing
silly
phase right
talk.
now. But perhaps you can talk a little bit about what our balancing process is for archetypes as an overall.
He kind of did.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
theory,
already.
when
our
we
design
when we
theory.
move into the balance phase, right? I just talked about the primary components that we use in order
Yeah,
to
doubling down strange
to
will
get
be
that
a
initial balance pass.
lot
But when we move into Alpha
very
2 and we have a
advantageous
lot of
for
data that's
the
kind of
archetype
supporting the
kits.
use of these
The way that
particular
they're
abilities in
starting to
combat
be built.
settings, how often they're used, how often they result in death, what the average damage done by this archetype is comparatively to other damage done by different archetypes. All of that data gets logged, right? And all of that data gets queried in order for us to refine the abilities so that they live in the environment we want them to. Now, that's not to mean that we're going to have, perfect balance across the board between the archetypes. Again, we're taking a rock, paper, scissor approach to balance, which means that some archetypes will do better against other archetypes and vice versa. And we're also not creating an environment where we want to have 1v1 balance. We are focused around group balance, group composition. Group composition is important, right? We're not creating a highly competitive game that might be a Valorant or a League of Legends, right? This is an MMORPG, which means that there are going to be certain classes that perform better than other classes in certain situations, and that's part of the grand strategy, right? That is something we want people to think about compositionally when they arrange their groups and their raids for the particular content that they're facing. Now, we have not done a balance pass yet, right? And we haven't used the metrics we need in order to create that more acceptable balance for hitting the target we want to hit for these particular archetypes. So when you're looking at this, you should be looking at it with the lens of, does this look fun? Does this look like something I want to play? Not, is that damage number too high? Is that attack speed too high? Is that cooldown too low? That is something that we will address, but not now.
And later,
and
we
when we do
will
address it,
be
we will get that
asking you.
feedback.
Yeah.
Correct, exactly. Yes. When we do have people play testing and involved in the alpha 2 and beta,
Oh yeah, it looks
that is
amazing
when we
for a
will
game that's
ask
going
those
in Alpha
questions
2.
and accompany it with data.
Exactly. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, reminder that, like Steven said, as you're watching this, as you're looking at it, really think about the look and feel. Think about the things that you liked, the things that you don't like, things that you'd like to see that the Ranger might have in the future, and head on over to our forums and give us some feedback over there. I believe Vacnar already has the forum thread up, so please, 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 I implore you, if you have thoughts, if you're a ranged lover, or if you fight rangers often in PvP and you have thoughts in regards to that, go over there and toss us your feedback. We'll be compiling that and handing that over to the devs in the new year. So please, please, please head on over there. We would love for your feedback. Our team is very adamant about reviewing feedback and looking over it and making sure that we're all headed in the right direction. But definitely from looking at the chat, I think everybody is really enjoying
Fun
this.
before
Lots of
balance
good
is what I
feedback.
always say.
There's lots of good
one thing
vibes
They need to
going
make
on
the
in
kits
chat.
fun,
We're in our
and then they
internal
can
Slack
tweak.
right now.
Yeah, one thing I want to
Where
say
they
is
want
that,
to
look,
balance
we have, this isn't
the utility
let me say
skills,
it like
and then
this.
also via
From
gear, because that's going to be the
a
huge
while
thing.
ago, we have known that we needed to improve our approach on combat. And if you think about what we just talked about those testing scenarios and the information we need to improve combat and balance, that was true in Alpha 1. And we got a lot of great feedback from Alpha 1. And it was that feedback that has led us to this approach you see now as the result of that feedback and our hard work, particularly on the combat team, iterating over time to improve the combat loop. Now, when we see the response from the community initially to this combat, we are seeing, hey, this looks good, right? And so that helps us validate, okay, we took the feedback from the testing, we changed our approach, we iterated upon it, and now we're delivering something that visually looks compelling to our audience, right? That is a perfect loop of iteration, incorporating the community as part of their responsibility to provide us feedback, because nobody wants to see a game get launched that hasn't had the opportunity to collect feedback from the players. We've seen those games before, right? And that's what this interaction right now, our monthly development update, is intended to safeguard against. And so I just want to give kudos to the combat team, because in my opinion, having played this and watched this and seen the community's response to it, they've done a great job. They have done a great job in
Oh yeah, it looks
moving
really
away
fun.
from what was our direction prior to Alpha 1 to now having developed for Alpha 2 a significantly revamped combat experience. And I think it feels good and it plays well and it's fun.
And even just internally, I mean, we don't talk about this all the time, but it kind of goes right into moving into our studio update, which is what we're going to talk about next. You know, we are continually iterating our internal processes, and they've been really finding a good, like you said, rotation in regards to the process internally of how they create abilities and how they create archetypes and weapons and things of that sort. So it is, like Brian said in the stream, it is a team effort. You know, there may be one person whose head is on the line for one thing or the other, but
the single
in the end,
wringable neck.
yes, but in the end, everyone has. It's a collaborative effort to make these things come together, and
especially with the fighters momentum strange,
oh my gosh,
you're going to be zipping
people
around the battlefield as a fighter.
When we're looking at
just zipping from person to person, just executing, you know, smacking people all day.
Is like over 20-30%, right? And we're at 2.3% or something like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yes.
So people who come here,
4,800 people watching the stream right now.
And you know, sometimes
that's a lot more than their previous streams.
Pretty normal.
Yes,
but we're under.
And
just
to comment a little bit about that as we go into the studio update, for those of you who are watching who may not be as actively engaged in the development process of Ashes, what I will say is that where we were prior to Alpha 1 and where we are today are two very different positions, right? We are now at over 170 people full-time on the team developers who are creating Ashes of Creation. And, you know, we have seen over the course of this last year significant progress from a development perspective for Ashes of Creation. And it's, I mean, as you guys can see through these updates, it is starting to look and feel pretty good. And there is still a long road to go. So what I would say is that those of you who are finding it hard to be patient for the game's release, that's understandable, 100%. But we have a very clear objective. We have a very clear goal, and that is to create something special. And you know, the timeline for something special is hard to define. You can't put a time box around finding fun, right? And sometimes when games or publishers try to do that, it doesn't end well. And so we want to make sure, because we have spent the better part of the last 7 years developing Ashes of Creation, that we execute on it well,
strange.
And that takes some time and it takes some passion.
On that front too? I think people think like, oh, you've been in development for 7 years, but keep in mind the team was very small those first few years. Like if you have 5 or 10 people working on your staff, you're not going to be able to accomplish as much as you are with 170. So I just.
Oh no! Is that me? Is that my internet? You got F's in the chat? All right, as long as it's not just me. Good opportunity to chit chat, though. Thanks for everybody that's tuned in today.
A lot of the previous was getting the foundation design, making sure we're.
And to be fair, that's intentional, right? Like when John and I started this studio, having not had a background in gaming, and
something's happening.
Oh, yeah, the frames are just absolutely dipping.
Can you hear me? Okay.
No, you're good. I think
up to 5,000 people watching.
Twitch server.
All right. How about now?
It's clearing up.
Ooh.
Now we're
back.
Okay.
Now we're back.
So
yeah, thanks to everybody who's tuned in today.
What I was going to say is that
really appreciate it.
When John and I started this company back in 2016, we had just a couple of people on the team. I think Keith was one of our senior character artists, was the first hired, and And in 2017, we got up to maybe 20 people. We aren't a Blizzard or a Microsoft or a Riot that has hundreds of people and billions of dollars to spend on development, right? This is out of our pockets and out of the pre-order packs that we've done combined are creating this game. And so we built the studio in a very sustainable fashion, right? And exactly, yes, and Kickstarter. We built yes, we built the studio in a very sustainable fashion with a very clear goal and vision that we have stuck to over the years. And as we're wrapping up 2023 and in December, and we look back on those things, and obviously, break coming up is always a very introspective time. I'm very proud of what this team has accomplished and what the company has grown to become, because we've kept our identity in that time, being very passionate MMORPG gamers, creating something that we've always wanted to see in a game, and one that upholds to this non-pay-to-win philosophy, who believes in the integrity of the player and the community that's participating in Ashes of Creation. So, there is something special there, I think, that is unique about Intrepid, and you guys are seeing that shine through as we give you these development updates.
We understand not everything is going to move super quickly, but we will make good on everything that we're doing. So just making sure that you have patience with us. I think we've all seen games that have been pushed out quickly, and we're like, wow, they really should have taken more time. But a lot of those companies have a lot of pressure to push things live.
Absolutely, yes.
And we are fortunate. Stephen is the only one who can pressure us. So if he's like, get it done, we're like, all right, boss man.
I get pressure. I get pressure. But just to comment on that, what I would say is that shit, I lost my thought there. I'm sorry, I lost my thought. Yes, you distracted me on the pressure.
Sorry. In regards to taking our time and making sure that we have quality product.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that is very true. I know. Here's what I was going to say, is that, look, what we are trying to do, which is to create a community-focused feedback loop for our development process in creating a non-pay-to-win game that champions the integrity of the player, and with the intricate, detailed systems and interconnectivity that Ashes provides in a very sandbox environment where you can actually see, not just hear buzzwords of the environment reacting to the actions of the players, that should be something that everyone roots for. Everyone in this industry and in the community of MMORPG gamers should be rooting for the success of projects like ours, because innovation only occurs when risk takers move forward to achieve something. That is important. And whenever you see a community that comes back and is negative about the outlook or the prospects of a particular project, it's fair to give criticisms. It's fair to talk about things that should change. We want that. That's why we engage with the community. But at the end of the day, we should be rooting for the success of people who dare to take risks, because risks are how things change and how we get a better environment for the MMORPGs that we love.
And, I get a lot of messages like, oh, are you worried about this or that product? And it's like, no, there's room for everybody. There's room for a lot of games. There's lots of people. There's lots of games. So we are friends.
Yeah, WoW's heading in the right direction. 100%.
So,
absolutely.
Season Discovery's been so much fun to play.
It's a community. We are all a community creating games and creating wonderful memories for people and places for people.
Need to see the Riders of the Apocalypse
have their own
hero spec.
So 100%.
They didn't showcase that one in their
there's no
their post.
Hard feelings in regards to that.
No, not at all.
Anything else you want to talk about in the studio side? I know there's been a lot going on, and obviously this is the end of the year to recap the year. Obviously,
we just we've been having some great luck on the hiring front. Obviously, my heart goes out to the industry right now. It's a difficult time within the gaming industry. I can't imagine being laid off
like right before Christmas too.
It's terrible to see, and it literally tears apart my heart to watch some of these very talented developers, through no fault of their own, have to suffer a layoff, particularly at this time of year. And I know that the industry will bounce back, but we've had some great success in bringing on some amazing talent to the team over the course of these last few months. We just celebrated the end of this milestone. We're going on break starting on Friday, and we'll be returning on January 2nd. We watched, we got together and rented out the theater here and watched Willy
I've been
Wonka
playing
with
the
our
Rogue as well.
families and and the
Quick Shot
developers.
is
That was a
just
lot of
too
fun.
nice.
I did not know it was a musical. I'm not necessarily a fan of musicals, but I thought it was great. You know, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I looked across the room when the first song started and I said, oh, I didn't know that. But regardless, we had a lot of fun, and you know, we're just kind of winding down the year. It's a lot of head fires right now with getting some of our playable builds over the week that we want to have available. But the team has been just killing it. So kudos to the team, everyone at Intrepid that's watching. Great job this year. I mean, it
If we
was
could
truly,
get some,
really
if
great.
you're watching us live here on Twitch, giving us some hearts in chat for our wonderful development team, I'm sure that they would
Absolutely.
appreciate that. And then, of course, if you're watching us over on YouTube, you can toss some hearts in there as well in the comments. We would love that. And, you know, we just appreciate you guys. We hope that you appreciate us. We try to give as much love and and knowledge to you all, so you know. The community team's going to kill me because I just made you guys spam. So
Oh, no.
sorry in advance. But whilst we're getting all those hearts in chat, we can continue them for the love of the art. If you don't mind
Yes.
us moving on to that, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first and foremost, we have a whole slew of weapons that we're going to be showing off for you guys, including books, wands, focuses, scepters, daggers, spears, bows, shields, swords. So I'll kind of let this loop through so you can see all of the cool things. There's a whole set of
Weapon
novice
arts.
items that they've been working towards, as well as I believe the Sons of Fortune set and a few other little bits and pieces here. But really, we're working on making sure that when you're leveling up from level 1 through 15, that you have a lot of cool things that you can craft, as well as things that you can attain through, you know, defeating creatures and stuff like that. So they're really honing in on that level 1 through 15 experience when it comes to loot drops and crafting items. I don't know if you have anything else to add on that front, Stephen.
No, it's just you know, we've been very heads down for the better part of this year, focusing on the feature development of a lot of the gameplay systems, and over the course of the last few months, we've been gearing up obviously towards Alpha 2, which you'll be getting a little bit of an announcement here in a second, and focusing on the progression path, you know, from level 1 all the way up to level 30, I believe
That's
we're
a sweet
targeting
scepter
for
right there.
Alpha 2. So it's been nice to kind of see some of the lower level stuff getting some TLC, but also the character progression as well. And I think the artists have done a great job with a lot of these weapons.
Yeah, and obviously, as you level up further, there will be more crazy, cool looking stuff. So, just kind of, you know, showing you little tidbits. We don't want to show you everything, but give you a little bit. And I also have that mace in a little turntable as well. For those of you mace lovers out there, I'm a big mace fan. As like a cleric / paladin, so it's pretty cool.
It looks real good.
Yeah, I love that mace. Looks
Battle
great.
Mage.
The next one we have is this is a work in progress, but you know, we like to share some work in progress stuff. So the next one is the
Too
Remnant
cool.
Sympathizer outfit.
Ooh.
This is the part of the last pack. Like I said,
It's looking even
There
better.
will be particle effects and things of that sort. They're still finalizing things, but you can kind of see where it's headed. It's cool for me because I designed this set, so seeing it in a
Ooh, look at
3D
that.
space always gets me excited. But yeah,
Looks
they've been
great.
killing it. Danny's been doing a good job making it come to 3D life. And then I think we have a turntable of this as well, so you can see that.
Looks very good.
Looking cool. The little metalhead in me. That's where this came from. For those,
Very dark.
I know a lot of
Melee
people are like, how did this
sorceress
come
from
out of her?
D2, 100%.
Her
Very
mind.
dark.
It's the same place that the snores came out of, the wisp walk, out of this weird mind of mine. Next, we have the Goblin Shaman that Jinxie's been working on, which is very, very cool.
Super
You'll
awesome.
be definitely seeing this bad boy in Alpha 2. 3D model.
Oh, look at him.
The skull's really
Aw,
awesome.
He's
so
just ready
cute.
to flay some humans.
It's fine. But I love the mask. I really hope that the mask and the staff are droppable items, because I think people would love let me know in chat
Absolutely.
if you would rock that mask, because
I would rock
yeah.
it. I would rock the mask. In real life too, if we
so
can get some
Jinxie,
cosplay.
we need that as a mask item, and that staff too. It's so cool.
I'd like to
and
walk into a conference room with that mask on.
I'm here for it. Oh, you know how like they have the
That'd be great.
speaking sticks or something like that? You just have a speaking mask. Everyone.
Yes.
We used to do that at my Pathfinder table when we were younger in high school, because otherwise everyone would talk over each other. So we had we had funny hats. So if you were wearing funny hat, that meant you were like in character. So you had to so you knew who was trying to get stuff happening versus not, because we had 13 people, so it was a lot.
You had 13 people in your high school
Yeah, well, 13 people in our high school D&D game.
class? Oh, and D&D game. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Because we played on Sundays after church. It was fun though.
Oh, as you do after church. Very
yeah.
nice.
The devil's work, I know.
I
That's
know,
what they
right?
said to us, is we're doing that.
Oh no.
Back in that day, back in the 90s, when people thought, we were doing bad things.
Right.
But yeah, great job, Chris, Danny, Jinsey, Manny, and Priscilla, killing it. We always love seeing your stuff, so thank you for sharing it. I know sometimes they're working on stuff and they're like, I don't want to share it yet, but we get to see a lot of amazing artwork from these guys and gals. So I'm glad we get to share a little bit of it. And you'll see tons more in Alpha. So moving on to Q&A.
All right.
All right, we'll play some more videos, or we'll play the Ranger stuff while we're doing Q&A.
And maybe we just do Q&A for the next 10 minutes.
All right.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
And then we can do the announce?
Yep, we'll do the announce.
All right, let's do
The
it.
thing that everyone's been waiting
1
for.
p.m.
my
announcement.
goodness.
It's coming.
Chrono Stormwater wants to know about general respecking. I know we've talked about this topic before, but they're being very particular. We've talked about it when it comes to artisanship, but now they're asking, what are your plans for the wider respecking landscape of Ashes of Creation? Will it be easy or difficult, and will there be a cost involved with general respecking? So I think this is more in archetype specific. I know we've talked about it in other aspects before.
Yeah, it's going to be more difficult in artisanship. From an archetype perspective, as it relates to skills, it will be a bit easier. I am still conflicted on whether or not I want to allow respecs on the fly. I don't believe we should. I believe that respecking should be done at a particular location. That requires a bit of transit and some strategic thinking ahead of time about the encounters that you're expecting. But respecking your class should be relatively easier, obviously with that constraint of being at a particular location.
All right. And then we've got Sweaty Cup, that's name, wants to know about artifacts. If a player collects a 1 per server item, but stops playing stops paying their subscription or quits playing the game, will they get to keep the item till they return?
It depends. It depends on the item. If we're talking about artifacts, those will likely be timed. There are some ideas that we have around whether or not artifacts get to stay with the character, get downgraded from an artifact status if they were to, let's say, not log in after a period of time, or if that time period goes away. But it's something we're going to be testing as part of the end of Alpha 2, near the later stages of Alpha 2. But right now, artifacts are timed.
Yeah, and for those of you who are new, artifacts are really, really rare items that you can
single
obtain.
items.
Yeah, and there's only 1 of them on the server. So
at a time, correct? Yeah,
they're really
very
cool.
The next one is VR Dynasty, I believe, or Ver Dynasty. They want to know about crafting recipes. With the map being as large as it is and recipes being potentially earned anywhere, are there region-specific recipes that would be very hard to find, if not impossible to earn on the other side of Vera? So will there be rare
absolutely.
recipes?
There are absolutely extremely rare recipes, and not just having rare recipes, but also there are rare unlocks that exist within the recipe as well, as we talked about last month, that you can discover. Recipes get delivered in a number of different ways, through vendors, through social organizations, through religions, through drops, through bosses, and it kind of through treasures as well. And a lot of those can be locationally dependent. So yes, there are recipes in certain areas that you can find that you will not find in other areas as well.
Look, I tried to get a wolf mount the other day, and that thing is complicated too. So
Yes,
whatever there's many things that will be at the end of it. You will feel very satisfied.
A wolf
that you
mount.
put the effort in to get it. The next one is Raven016, who wants to know about crafting. How many Grandmaster level crafting stations can a node stage 5, aka city node, have?
Right now, I believe so. Grandmaster station at stage 5. I believe that there can be one Grandmaster station at stage 5, and that there can be 2 at stage 6.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was
I
2 at
believe.
the Metropolis, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Tyrol wants to know about universal skills. Will each archetype be equally efficient with universal skills like dodging and active blocking, or will each of them kind of have their own versions and flavors, or will some people be more powerful than others?
Yeah, right now we have a host of different universal skills. That is rolling, active block, and what we want to do is we want to provide a progression path that's shared for those universal skills across all the archetypes. So when you spend skill points, you can choose to spend them within the universal skill set and unlock particular ability types for the universal skills as well. But you will be spending them from the skill points that you would normally spend within your class-specific skill tree. And this offers, again, a different wheel of customization that I think is interesting.
Give me as many dodges
And
as
then
I can
Lineker
get.
wants to know about node artisanship benefits. We know that the best processing is done in freeholds and the best crafting is done in nodes, but is that restricted to academic nodes only? What benefits or restrictions do node types have in regards to crafting?
There are no restrictions as it relates to the best crafting, meaning access to those crafting stations. However, the academic or scientific nodes, those provide bonuses and strengths towards crafting within the node, right? So it's not a hard lockout; it's a soft bonus system.
Okay. And then Gall wants to know about world building. Is it correct that Intrepid Studios is building the Western continent first and then the Eastern continent is coming afterwards? Or is that not the right way to think about the game's direction of development?
No, that is accurate. We are focused on the Western continent first, and I don't know how you got that information. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, they've
Yes,
seen the
we're
map,
focused.
and then we've
I
been
know, I
talking
know,
about the areas. I think they
I
can,
know.
anybody can read a
Yes,
map.
we are focused on the Western continent right now. That is accurate. Yes.
Top wants to know about AoE abilities. Is the impact of an area effect, offensive or defensive, limited to a number of targets or by an area?
Currently, our diminishing return approach is not to restrict the number of targets that can be affected by a particular thing. We do have player collision. So in and of itself, that provides a limited quantity of individuals who can be affected by area of effect spells. We're going to be playtesting and experimenting with a few different diminishing return approaches as it relates to AoE abilities as well as status conditions.
All right. And as I wrap up these last two questions, I think we're going to be able to answer them in time. I don't know if Wagner or Roshan want to get a poll in chat. I'm just curious what quarter everyone thinks next year will go into Alpha 2, and we'll see if where it matches up against what the announce is. So the next question here is from Caddick, and they want to know about gathering. If another player is gathering a tree and I come in for the final chop, do I get the tree?
If you come in and so it depends on who completes the gathering interaction first. So if they've begun and you come in and
Twitch
you have
chat
a faster
is unloading a ton of
gathering
cues here.
time because of either your profession experience, the tool you're using, the upgrades you've chosen, or the outfit you're wearing, you could conceivably complete it before them. But again, it is awarded to the first player to complete.
All right, and then our last question here is from Cash Quests, and they want to know about ranged attacks. Can Stephen elaborate further on why the minimum distance required was removed for the Rangers' ranged attacks? This came from a conversation with you on Discord.
Sure. So to give greater context there, originally when I was thinking about the Ranger, I had thought about introducing a minimum range requirement in order to offset its flexibility in combat and having
because
them
it sucks.
think a little bit more
Yeah, it's just
strategically
not
about
fun.
positioning on the battlefield. That became an unfun experience when we play tested it. And so we decided to remove it. Instead, we may choose to play around with things like range, too close of range affecting something maybe like accuracy. We haven't play tested with that.
Strange. What
or
quarter
we
do
just
you
might
think they're
not
going to
incorporate it
announce
and
here
instead
in
let it
3
live within the
minutes for
abilities.
Alpha
You
2
saw an example of
release?
that
What's your
with
guess?
regards to the lightning
What's your prediction?
ability.
And anyone else watching,
having
what's your
variable,
prediction?
effects conferred at
I will
different
pop mine in
ranges.
there.
That right now is the approach that we're taking.
And with that, we ready for our little announce? Should I just play it?
I think, well, before we play it, maybe we can play it, or no, let me talk about this for a
I
second.
know we're gonna have some thoughts afterwards that we need to.
Okay,
to
I want
say, so.
everyone in the audience to breathe with me. We're just gonna
A couple Q2
breathe in.
hopefuls.
Wait, hold on, that was out. Okay, breathe out. Now breathe in. And then breathe out. I want you to understand, those of
That's
you who are watching, those of you who
45%
might not be watching
on
and
a
following the project as much
poll.
as others in our community. This is a long time coming. Alpha 2
I think that's a good call,
is
Otto.
a major testing period for the product, for the game. And it is intended to be something that provides us with a great amount of wealth of information and iterative processing that we can then go back and touch on certain systems, combat, everything, right? Now, we are going to give you our projection according to our schedule that we believe that we are going to hit Alpha 2. But we have already begun testing. We're going to be continuing testing over the course of the remainder of December, January, February, March. We are going to be testing a lot.
It's all over the place,
over the
man.
course of the next several months.
I think their goal is end of March. They're going to announce
set us back a little
Q3.
bit. Hopefully that is not
To
the
give
case.
them
We are
3 extra months.
very far ahead of a lot of the more
Knock on wood.
nebulous questions from a development perspective. So we feel really good about it. But I want you to take obviously what we're announced with Alpha 2 with a grain of salt, right? This is not a game that we're launching in Alpha 2. This is truly a testing environment. This is something that if you are considering purchasing Alpha 2, that you should make sure you understand this is not a game experience. This is a testing platform. Those of you who are in PI and who were previous Alpha 1 testers, it's going to be a lot of spot testing. It's going to be a lot of preparation for Alpha 2, and it's going to be a lot of work, essentially, right? To want to log in and play through wipes multiple times potentially before we get to Alpha 2. There may be wipes in Alpha 2, right? We can't accurately predict that. So we are very excited about Alpha 2 at the studio. Very excited about Alpha 2 because it is a large segment of the game and in a pretty sizable portion of the world. And it is going to be a major test bed for us to validate the interactions of all of these systems that we've built. And it's going to be an exciting time, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And so with that, I think that we can show when we expect Alpha 2 to land, which quarter in 2024.
42% say Q2. Q3. Q3.
All right, there you have it. Q3. We are going to see you all on Vera. We're very excited. And like Steven said, we are doing some testing internally already. I know we mentioned I think Steven said, we're already spot testing. And that got some people riled up because they're like, wait, I'm not there. So to kind of reiterate, right now we're doing internal testing. We're going to be expanding that to PI. They are the first people who get in. And then we'll be expanding that further and further as we get further along, as we get closer to that Q3 mark. All of the testing prior to
at least
that
we know
Q3 mark will be under NDA unless we say otherwise. So keeping that in mind, you won't hear conversation about it because we won't be talking about it. People who are testing should not be talking about it because it's not in a state that we're ready to share. But once we are in Q3, once we are ready to announce the date, we'll probably announce it before, so you'll know the date so you can plan. And of course, we'll be reaching out to those of you who have Alpha 2 access in advance as well. So you'll get messaging, you'll be notified. Make sure that you have your email available, that you don't have us going to your spam so you don't miss it. But we'll also make note of this on all our social. Hey, emails have gone out. So if you are an Alpha 2 access person, stay tuned. We will be reaching out to you later as we get closer to Q3. And yeah, just want to make sure that that's clear, because I think it got people. We got a lot of CS tickets that were like, I don't have access yet, and I was like, no, not yet. It confused people a little bit.
We will be very
Vocal.
proactive with the messaging, guys. As Margaret said, keep an eye out on emails.
I 100%
We'll be
agree,
sending out
Autopilot.
information as those testing dates draw near.
That's why they need to release the
I think there were some questions. that
character
people
creator
had.
or
I think we
something
clarified the
to
first bit of it, and then the second bit of it was
garner the hype.
the persistency of Alpha 2 and what that looks like. I think some people think persistence means 24/7 up forever.
Yeah, there will absolutely be downtimes, 100%, right? Again, this is a testing bed, and when those downtimes need to happen or those wipes need to occur, we are going to do what's best for the product, not for the experience in Alpha 2.
And the good news is it could be within
what to expect
6 months
when we launch the game,
so
which
it
is
could
all
be
about the player experience,
like
versus the
really,
development process
really right
that
around
is
the corner.
Alpha 2. So it's very important to understand that dichotomy.
And the goal is to eventually have our Alpha to
Be the
that
PTR.
stream to end up being our like
Public
PTR
test
test realm down the line.
Yeah.
So it will kind of run simultaneously through the other ones, but of course still downtime. There will be downtime. It's not going to be 24/7
Yes.
always. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear to folks, because that I have been seeing a lot of discussion going around about that. Once we are in Alpha 2, that will no longer have an NDA. So then you'll be able to
Rangers
stream
are going to be a
share
lot
and
of fun.
screenshot and talk about it.
Every
But
time they
prior to
showcase
that,
the skills, it
remember,
makes me sit there and go like, do I really want to be a summoner?
safe.
Shh, keep it safe. I like that. That was good.
The bow, the speed, the
anything
movement.
else you want to add on that front, Steven?
No, just excited and happy to be here with you guys. Excited for the end of the year. Excited for next year. It's going to be a fun time, and things are moving fast.
Yeah, we hope that you all are able to stay safe and you can spend time with those you love during this holiday season. I know not everybody has that opportunity.
If
but,
A2
we do have community
runs
space
longer
over
than a
here. You can
year,
come hang out with us for the holidays.
I think
we are at
they're going to
Ashes of
have a
Creation
really
all the
hard
places.
time
The YouTube video for the 4K version is up. The full
keeping that
development update
audience
video will
like
go up tomorrow,
attention.
pending, YouTube wants to cooperate and Twitch wants to cooperate.
It also depends on what type of betas they want. If they want marketing betas or if they want like true betas where they test like server capacity and stuff like that.
You can head on to forums.ashesofcreation.com. We have
They want just
several
marketing
drop
ones.
rarities up right now. Give us your feedback on that.
I think
And
it's going to
of
be
course,
pretty
the Ranger
similar
Archive.
between
Really love
A1 and
to hear your
A2.
thoughts
But if they
on
want
that.
like real testing betas, it'll be a little
Reminder
bit
that the
sooner.
Unseen Order cosmetics are going to be ending January 17th. So that is your last chance to get a pre-order pack, or your friends do. We may extend, other opportunities to purchase into Alpha 2 access, but there will no longer be pre-order packs available. So just keeping that in mind.
That is a big point. I want to make sure,
go for it.
and we'll send messaging out as well. But
6 months.
we have given multiple months now of notice that we'll
At the
be ending
minimum.
the pre-order packages.
9
come
months
January
at the
17th.
maximum.
This is not intended to be a FOMO. Like I said, we gave multiple months of notice. We may be opening up Alpha 2 access in a different form at some point in the future, closer to Alpha 2.
If we can service those users.
Correct, and
Yeah.
that's dependent on internal testing. It's dependent on the external testing that we're doing as well. That is going to help inform that decision. But as it stands now, we will be ending.
Oh yeah,
pre-order
they are
packages
going to
January
need
17th
something
across
fresh.
everything, whether it be beta or
Well,
alpha.
a little
And
bit.
then, of course, we would love to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for all the raids and people who are watching from their other channels. We really appreciate that you're sharing the world of Vera with other people and sharing the love.
Really
for
great
Ashes of Creation.
stream.
We really, really appreciate that. And of course, thank you to all of you who are watching and joining us and sticking with us throughout this entire very long.
So yeah, I
live
foresee us
stream.
getting the
And of
character
course-
creator in
Is this another
Q2.
2-hour live stream?
Yeah.
Oh
I
no.
think me and you also had a lot of side conversations, but
That's
I feel like
true.
wrapping up the year, we don't want to rush it, right?
Absolutely.
Character
thank you
creator,
to Chad and Brian and
Rain-
Keen
or
for your
Rogue
work and
showcase.
joining us for a showcase and showcasing the Ranger in a great way, and of course Steven for your time. And we hope that
A couple
you
other
all are
crafting
gonna be just as excited as
showcases.
us
They
in the
got a
new year.
lot of
So we'll
stuff that
see
they
you then.
can
I'm gonna be married next time.
Diane.
Oh my goodness! I am so excited. I cannot wait. John and I
Me
are ready
too.
to go. We got our flight ready and everything.
Yay! I'm so excited. So yeah, not only have we been wrapping up the year, I've also been planning a wedding. So it's been crazy time for me. But we'll see you all next month for another development update.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Bye, guys.
Too much good stuff. Like way too much good stuff. Give us some quests. Man, like we need some Alpha 2 spot testing. I mean, I need it. That's the copium I'm looking for. I was really hoping they were going to do a few more spoilers. There were no spoilers hit on my bingo card.
We have a very exciting stream for you today. It
like
has been
spoil, like
some time since we
something
have showed off
teaser at the end of like this video would have been super cool.
We're going to be talking about
to
Ranger archetype.
Like have a rogue just come out of just nowhere and just one shot Steven. Stun lock him, one shot him, be like, oops. We had ourselves a little rogue action.
3 of our glorious developers, 2 of our senior designers.
But that was a
Trad and
very
Brian.
phenomenal,
Trad, Brian, how you guys doing?
phenomenal way to end the year.
Glad to
We
be here.
got
I think it's been a couple since
6
we
months
did our
minimum
last
until
combat showcase.
A2, which is going to be real good.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Happy to show
That
off
means
the
I only
Ranger.
have to figure out
You've been
6
putting a
months of
lot of
content
work
to
on
try
this,
and
Brian.
get the
Not
channel
just-
growing
Not just me.
before
the
we
whole
get
team.
some
Absolutely, the
testing
whole team,
going.
but Rangers are near and dear to
But
your
I really
heart,
appreciate
right?
everyone
Aren't you a
that
Ranger player? Don't you play some Rangers?
Yes.
tuned in over here
Yeah,
on
it's
YouTube.
definitely
I
one
don't
of
know
my
how many
favorite,
other creators
favorite
stream on
classes.
YouTube.
They're often not done justice in games, so
Like I know
getting
there's
the
quite a few that
opportunity to
stream
do
over there
right
on
by Ranger
Twitch.
mains makes me happy.
Yes. And then, of course, the man behind the magic, the senior engineer, and the owner for the PC core team, Keenan. How you doing, Keenan?
I'm alive.
Got
Happy to be here.
Sweetie T,
This is,
me,
by the way, this is a
some
really
Russian
cool
dudes,
environment. I see
I am
Carvin in the
Wild Drew.
background. We're here in winter.
more
It
Russian
is,
dudes. Only a
it's
few
definitely
streams
giving
over
me
here on the
the
YouTube.
Christmas vibes, and it is beautiful.
We haven't seen any of the
Smokes,
shipbuilding
what
yet.
an amazing job.
I don't think. I think Steven said that
Snow, everything. It feels
ships
so cozy.
were not slated for the launch of Alpha 2, but
Now,
down the line.
we have. Let's see, I'm in your party.
Yeah, man, it was really
We
fun. Thanks for
have
coming out. Thanks for
established
tuning
from
in,
some-
Autopilot.
Some feedback from the community
Fade to
on the
black, a
showcasing,
Tolnar Lizard. Yeah, Summoner walks out of the
that
shadows.
little
I was really
one
hoping
by
for
one
something.
of each ability
Little tiny bit
before
of a teaser.
we
Would have been
get
super
into any
cool.
combat situations with some mobs or NPCs is desired. It's a nice, clean way for us to kind of showcase.
But
obviously,
yeah,
all the
if
hard
you're
work
new
that's
here,
gone
if you're
into the
not
creation of this-
subscribed, please subscribe.
Into
Really
the
help me
creation of
out.
this archetype.
We're gonna be
apologize for
streaming.
coughing
I
just
have
a bit
Alpha 2
recently.
access.
Recently got
hopefully,
sick.
I get chosen to be in the
Still
character
recovering.
or the content creator program, so I can
I'm
kind of make
doing
some
much better.
community
So,
stuff
I think
involving.
this is a great place
you know,
for this.
you
It's like some
guys.
dried up riverbed or
That's
something.
really what I want to build.
Get some
A
nice
lot of
colors
fun
in here.
community
Now,
stuff. A lot of fun
obviously,
theory
as a
crafting
disclaimer,
over the next
before
6
we
months.
begin, I do want to say
That's going to be a lot of
that
fun.
UI, VFX, 100% a.
Now
work in
this
progress.
showcase
Oh my
looks
God, there's
really
a bird
good.
there.
The skills
I got
looked
it.
really good. The
It's
FX team
a
is
scary
just
little bird.
the animation team's just carrying everything.
The UI is a work in
Looked
progress.
really
the
amazing.
VFX are a work in progress. Everything here is subject to change through testing. Obviously, Alpha 2 coming up is going to be.
I love the mobility. That was one thing that I was really nervous about,
so
was
please
not
keep that in
having
mind,
too much
especially
mobility,
content
especially
creators out
since
there
they
who are gonna do
gave
some review videos. Make
the
sure you mention
fighter
that,
the
at the
mechanic
start of the videos.
of momentum, which is what
Keenan,
I
how
predicted
do you
for the
feel about
Ranger.
being a targeting dummy
But I
for
really
the
like
showcase of
the
these
interaction
abilities?
between hunts
I'll
and
take it.
marks.
All right, let's do that.
It
Do you
makes
have a
it makes
healer?
it very tangible of a
Yeah,
play
yeah,
style
That's got to.
It's
to
all
really
on me.
utilize. Unlike, you
There
know,
you go.
leveling up
All right,
a
so
hunter
I'm
in
no longer your
SOD,
party so that I can
you know,
murder
you just place
but
the
I
same
have
mark
set
on every single
my,
target before the
cooldowns
encounter, and then you
to
go.
0.1,
Here,
I believe, so that I
not
can
only are
show
you placing
each
marks
of
at the
these
beginning of the
abilities off,
combat, but you're going to be
multiple
changing
times
marks in the
as
middle of
we're
the
talking about
combat,
it. So
and you're going to be
please keep in mind,
synergizing marks not only with
guys,
the
as
hunts,
you're
but
out
with
there
the different
watching this
skills that
display,
you're using.
the cooldowns
It's going to
here
make for
are
some
set
really
to
fun
practically
gameplay
perfect.
loops for the
Now
Ranger.
we're
I'm
gonna
very
do
excited
some
for it.
combat afterwards. I'll set cooldowns back, but during this display, they're set. to
Like
nothing.
just that little
Let us
showcase that they had
showcase our
with,
first
you know,
ability. I
using
see we
snipe
have
into execute
Snipe, and we showed
into
Snipe off last
your
year when we
mark
did our
hunt
last
synergy
ranged
into
basic
the
weapon
ability that
combo
resets the
update.
cooldown into
And you
2
got to see a
consecutive
little preview of it last
executes.
month as
That gets me
well,
really excited
during our
for
artisanship
the
review.
synergy
But talk to
potential
me about
between the
some of changes
skills.
that Snipe has gone through and what this ability serves as a purpose.
And the fact that they have the trap ability,
Yeah,
I was
so with
hoping
Snipe,
so
we've
much
been
that
leaning
Steven was
into it
going to
being an
backflip
alpha
away,
strike
place a
ability. So
trap,
it's what you want to open
you know,
with
dash
to
back,
deal massive
start
damage.
executing and
since
sniping
it's got
away
that,
as the mob,
charge
the
up
spider
time,
got, you know,
it's
trapped
not as
in
good to
the bear
do when
trap.
You're needing to kite something, but whenever you're just opening on something that's an unsuspecting
Yeah, the spell
target,
hunter could be
it's
really
the
cool,
perfect
especially
ability for
if,
it.
because the
And if
way
you have spec
Margaret
choices,
was
there's other
explaining
things to lean
like
into it.
the
For
weapon
instance, you got
types
that proc on you right now,
makes
it's
a lot of
giving you
sense. And
20%
actually,
bonus
I was
attack
initially
speed
like, man,
on
this sounds
successful
bad,
snipe.
but it
Oh,
makes a lot of
okay,
sense.
let me take
Like
a look at that.
Fired
the
again, fired
ranger
again.
archetype is going to
okay,
be
let me
a
see.
bow user primary.
Yeah, it's
But if
Trad
you
helped with this,
tag
he
in
added
some
this into the
mage
skill
augments,
tree.
it would be
Yeah,
more
just dropped under
apropos
there.
to
So-
make
Oh,
the
there it is.
abilities more,
Yeah, so your
hey,
follow-up shots
you want to
will
be
come
using a
out even quicker.
wand because you're a spell hunter. You know, you want to be using
Cool, so that
a
proc is happening
a
because
book
I have spec'd into a passive.
or an
Let's take a
orb
look.
because you're a
This is the
spell
first time that
hunter.
people have actually
Like that
seen,
actually
the
creates a lot of
progression
really
tree
cool
for a
synergy
particular,
between
archetype,
like actual
in
builds.
quite
Like
a while, actually, probably since our alpha
as
1.
a spell
But
hunter, I'm
there
gonna
has been a
want
lot
a
of work
wand
that's gone
and a
into this,
spell book
from you guys, of course.
on there that gives
Talk
me,
to
you
a
know,
little
all
bit
the
about
different arcane
different types
damage.
of, abilities
Yeah,
we're
like
seeing.
that's really cool. It's going to
Trad, do you
augment
wanna
my
take this one?
abilities
'Cause
to
you put a lot of work into
use
this.
the wand
Sure.
in
I
maybe
mean,
a different manner.
We're gonna go through all these as we
Just gets me
go
really
through
jelly
and
jam
show
jazzed,
them
man.
off one by one.
Really
But what you're
excited.
seeing at a high level here is just what you'd pretty much expect of a traditional skill tree. We're doing something
Yeah,
a little
I'm
more
really happy
advanced
that
than just
Margaret
like a
took
bottom-up
charge of that
structure,
that
because we're being a little bit more
answer,
freeform in
because
this
it
iteration.
definitely
This
felt
will
like
obviously
Steven was
see
going to
more
go down the
UI
line of just
iterations
being
in the
like,
future. But
no, for the
you'll see like
ranger,
a mix of
you will
active
have
and
to use a
passive
bow to
abilities
use
here.
half
Actives
your
are,
kit.
indicated by their square shape, while the
She
circular ones
saved the
are
answer there.
representing passives.
So huge kudos to
One
Margaret
thing to
coming
note
out
as
and being
well
like,
is
hold
that
up, Steven.
These passives
This is the way
are,
we need to answer the
aiming to
question.
be a little more interesting than just like, you know, this ability does more damage.
I'm very
now, or
curious to
this,
see
you know,
what, like, there's a
it
bunch of
has a lower
questions that we
cooldown.
still
Like,
got to
we
ask.
do have some of those
Like,
too.
can
But,
you spec out the
goal with a
entire
lot of these
skill tree
passives, in
the
addition to
manner that
is to
they spec'd
allow
out,
people to lean
just for the
into unique
showcase?
playstyle. So
You
you'll
know,
notice that
or is
some
it going to
of
be
them
more
are
like
changing your
WoW
gameplay in
Classic,
meaningful
where
ways, and that's the direction
you
we wanna
go down
take,
the tree in a specific manner, you
player
have a
character
limited number of
customization as a
skill
whole.
points that you can apply,
cool. Yeah, I
because
love
people
it.
are going to want that.
Obviously,
People are going to
you know,
want to
this is all
have
subject
literal
to
builds
intense
where you
feedback
might go
from,
down up
the
the left
testers,
side of the
which is
tree
interesting
or
as
the
well,
right
but
side of the
too,
tree.
all of this
So
stuff is
because right
subject
now
to
the way
change,
it
as I
looks
said,
here,
but it gives you guys a very good idea direction-wise, and your feedback is,
you
of
can
course,
spec into
why we
almost
do these
everything,
development updates. So please make sure,
which is
that you give
not
us your
so good
thoughts,
for
back on
for
this
the
type of progression tree.
characters.
In addition to the archetype progression tree,
I
we also
actually
have
do like the
something that
simplicity
interacts
of
with each of
the
archetypes,
weapon skill
and that is
tree.
a weapon progression tree as well. Now, obviously,
You know, just having the
format of this
passive
particular weapon skill tree that you're
increments
seeing here is a relatively
increases
simplistic one.
is 100%
But talk to
just
me a little bit
taken
about
from
the intent
DC Universe
purpose,
Online.
behind the weapon.
And
skill
then
tree.
the advent of adding just
Yeah,
like
so
little
the
minor
intent here
changes,
is
like an
to
extra
give you
hit,
choices. Either
is
I
actually
want
a
to
big deal.
extend and improve my combo,
because it's
or I
essentially a
want just
20%
passive
DPS
benefits that
increase
increase my
that you
attack
can also
speed or crit
synergize
chance
with
in this
other
case with the
proc-based
short bow.
effects.
And yeah, as you can see, the tree's a lot
Like
more
I
simple.
really like that advent
kinda
of
like a
that, and
stage one
I really wish
tree,
we could
work in
see like
progress,
the
but
additional skill
it'll
that you
get
could add to your
fancier over time.
bar.
And I
They
see
didn't
on the
quite go
far
that
right-hand
far
side,
with the
Brian, that
skill
there
tree.
are additional combo steps.
Basically,
So
instead
let
of
me
going
actually
ranger with the wand, you
unspec,
might want to go mage
these
ranger with the wand.
additional combo
Well,
steps.
yeah. I mean,
so that we can
mages
talk
using
first
wands
about
are
the
going to be
basic,
very apropos, anyways.
weapon combo, and I'm just going to demonstrate.
But I think
that
a
if you
mage
use the short
with
bow. Now, this
any
is the
ranged
short bow we
weapon
are
is going to
using.
be apropos,
You
to
guys
be
remember
honest,
from last
because they
year when we
have
showcased
the
ranged weapons that we have. Obviously, a number of
elemental
them, some of them arcane,
augmentation
some of them
ability
physical,
where
but the
they
two bow types that we
your
have are
weapon
longbow
attacks
and
change
short
to
bow.
the
I'm
weapon
using
or
the
the
short bow,
the
as you can
arcane
see,
type that
it
you
is
just
a
used. So if you use the
copper
ice ability,
short bow.
now your weapons do the you like have
let's
ice
see
arrows.
what this looks like with without the combo upgrade.
But again, how they augmented,
That's
like
4 hits there.
opening up the augmentation
So
of
it's
being like
relatively rapid
when you
pace.
augment snipe with a
Especially
mage
compared to
augment,
that of
you'll
the
want to use a
long
different
one
weapon
that you
type.
guys got to see a little
Like
while
that
ago.
adds a
Let us talk
huge
about speccing
amount
out
of
into these
depth
additional combo
into
steps and
the
what does
thematic
that
flares of the
do?
augments, and I really like that.
Oh, you know what?
Yes. So We've done a lot of
Yeah,
experimentation.
and the
over
cool
the
thing
past couple
about
months
the
to find
martial
out
arcane
what's
split
the
between the
shortest and what's the
classes
longest
is it
combo
gives
that's
you a
acceptable,
unique way
because
to
we
look
had
at
this goal
all the
where we
different,
wanted to
like
have
what all
combo
the different
length
damage
progression
types
available
or
to
damage
players,
archetypes are going to bring.
so that certain
So like
builds could have
fighters and
longer weapon
rogues
combos,
and
other builds could have
rangers bring
shorter weapon combos with more passive
martial
effects.
damage. So they're your
And
martial
this has
damage
been the
dealers.
result of our
And then
exploration.
mage,
So when you start out,
summoner,
you've
and
got
bard
a pretty quick 4-hit
bring
combo, but whenever
arcane.
you unlock the
You
additional
know, so
hits, you
they're
get
more
the
of your
fifth and sixth
arcane
hits,
damage
which,
dealers.
add approximately 50%
And then you can
to the
sprinkle in the
overall
different
combo length,
augments
but
to kind of change
we
your
found
kit
that
to
gave a
mirror
pretty
that,
satisfying,
because
floor and ceiling to how long
different
the combo can be.
like
It definitely, yeah, I can feel absolutely
there can be
change,
like
obviously, in the pace,
immunities in the world, like a
between
fire,
not having
like a
stepped into
elemental
the
can be immune to
combo,
fire damage. So now you
and
want to bring
getting
the
those
different
additional
element
fifth and
types.
sixth steps.
Or there can be
So
like
in
a
addition
skeleton that's
to the
immune to
later
like
hits in the combo
a
doing
specific
additional
type of
damage,
martial
you
damage. So you
also
want to
unlock
take your
proc effects. So on your fifth hit,
an
you
arcane
unlock the special
secondary.
fifth
So if
hit,
you're a
which gives you
ranger and they're
10%
immune to
bonus
physical
crit
damage,
critical
you'll want to
strike
take
chance,
mage as
which
your
you just
secondary,
marked
so
there.
you can augment his
And the
ability, so you
sixth
can
hit,
attack the mob.
you unlock
And
the
then
special
when you
sixth hit,
come to
which gives you
PvP,
Arrow Storm, which
plate
causes
wearers
your next, I believe, 10
are going to
attacks
be
fire an
more
additional
effective
arrow at the target.
against, or more defensive
So
against
that
martial
combos
attacks.
really well
So you
with
can be a
rapid fire
mage
abilities such
wearing
as the next
plate,
ability we're gonna be
and
looking at.
now you're
All right,
more
let's take a
effective
look
against
at
like
barrage.
basic
So barrage
rangers
is as
kits
far
or
as a
basic
continual
fighter
barrage of
kits.
arrows at your
Or
target
you can be
for 1.5 seconds, dealing
a
12%
fighter that
physical
wears
damage per
cloth
arrow.
if you want to be specifically attacking mages.
It might not seem like
So
a lot
you're
per arrow,
building
but it fires a
your
lot of arrows.
character
Now that's a
like
chart. Is this a
from the
charged
top
ability, like
down.
multiple charges?
Everything matters. That's why
no, right
everyone
now you
loves
only have
classic
one
WoW and the
charge.
leveling experience.
And
Everything you do
we did
matters.
some
Every weapon
iterations
upgrade
with
you get
this,
matters.
and
Every
a lot
skill
of play testing,
that you put
and yeah,
into
we
your
changed this
character
back to
matters.
only having one
Every
charge, and
single
you can
stat
reduce the cooldown of
has
this
some
by
sort of
completing
matter.
a weapon combo.
That's the way they're building,
Alright, let me see.
like how you can build your character.
Weapon
What
combo
armor type you
cooldown.
have
Cooldown. I have
matters.
set to 0
What,
cooldown, so we can show
you know,
that off a little bit later.
damage modifiers you add to
Talk
your
me a
through
little
your
bit about
augments matters.
headshot.
And that's why I'm really hyped
Yeah,
for this game.
headshot.
Like the
it starts
different
off-
amount
so
of
there's ways that you can specialize this that turn
like
it into
armor
the
and
execute,
gear,
but
like
it was born
loadouts you're
as
gonna want to
originally.
have. Is going to be fun.
It
Yeah,
does
race
pretty high
matters,
damage,
Strange.
but if you spec it appropriately, it does bonus damage when the target's below 50% health.
Yeah,
And if the target
variety
is
and
marked,
depth.
it
My fighter is going to
has
be different than
50%
yours because
reduced
you
cooldown,
have,
I
or
believe,
my
with the
cleric
spec
is going to be
that
way
you have.
different than yours if you're
So-
going to go with your Tolnar Gorilla
So if I have a marked
cleric
armor
fighter,
then I get a 50%
because
cooldown.
I'm going to be a shaman.
Yeah, you
I'm
get
going to
50%
be,
reduced cooldown on
you know,
headshot.
summoning little different things while you're
Now,
going in
we haven't
there
talked
doing
about marks so
whack-a-mole.
far. You wanna
I'm
talk
gonna
to
be
me a little
summoning
bit
stuff from a
about the
distance.
intent behind,
It's going to
marks?
feel so good.
Yep. The
So
intent
good.
behind marks is to provide a burst window.
Even if I
on
did
the
build
target.
a
often in other
a
games, it's
uh,
just
cleric
bonus
fighter,
damage.
it's gonna
This is
play
much
different than
more
yours.
Significant on the
because I'm going to
impact
go
that this
more
will have
heavily
on the
into the
target.
Knights Templar
It's basically
motif.
marking the target for death has a pretty huge effect. For instance, Mark of the Tiger, it grants 50% bonus critical
Yeah, I
chance
think
to
light
all
armor
attacks striking the
is
target.
like leather
Mark
armor
of the Bear
is what is that middle
25%
ground.
armor,
'Cause leather
and
armor is
Mark of the
not,
Raven is a bonus hit
defensively
that occurs
inclined
every time the
against
target is
either
struck, and it
damage
scales
types,
up in
but it's
damage
going to
based on
have
how
more of
low
that like
on health
crit
the
and
target is.
mobility
Okay, so
and
let me
those
try
type of bonuses.
Mark of the Bear.
So
this
it's kind of
reduces
your
the
jack of all
mitigation by 25%.
trades, but
So when I
also
use an
primarily
ability
helps your
first,
kit.
like headshot, I just did
So there's going to be a
76
lot of cool things.
If I were to start headshot and then I can use the mark
Man,
of the
like
bear
a lot
while
of
I'm
people aren't going to
channeling
really
the,
grasp
or casting
how
headshot,
cool of an
um,
answer
it'll-
Margaret gave to that
it
question.
will apply to the target.
I think a
while-
lot of people
while
are
I'm
gonna miss
essentially
that.
using Headshot, is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Keenan and the engineers made us some awesome you might know it in other games as off global cooldown tech. We call it simultaneous casting.
Oh, you meant
And
cloth?
yeah, that allows
Yeah, I mean,
you to
it
cast
could.
your
It
marks
could
at the
also.
same
I mean,
time
it's
as
supposed
other
to be
abilities,
more
allowing for,
magically
very efficient
defensive,
use
so it could be more magically
Okay,
offensive
that's
as
an
well,
offer from him.
or hold the capacity to have like higher
That's a significant bump.
uh,
Yeah,
affix
Mark of the Bear is
ranges.
really good against tanky targets.
That's the
Yeah,
big
awesome.
thing,
Mark of the Raven. Let's take a look at this.
especially when it comes to
I
crafting.
love the effect. Scott has done done such a
Like
great
I
job.
was in Vladis's stream, last live stream,
Yeah, I love
and
that
the
he
dev was
decided
in there,
to
and I was
join the
asking
VFX
about
team
like
and come over
affixes and
help
like
us with combat.
what
He's
type
doing
of
a great job
variety
so
are we
far.
looking at?
Absolutely.
You know, like what different ranges can we have? And unfortunately, they couldn't really answer a lot of that.
That's awesome.
But
Now, in addition to
that's where it's going to come down to how
marks, talk to me, Brad, a
intricate
little
you
bit
can
about
build your
hunts.
character,
What are the hunts
like
intended
for
to
a
do?
different job.
For sure.
Like if I want to be a
So, unlike
backline
marks, which are
flanker
debuffs on
that
the targets,
flanks
hunts are
um,
different buffs you can put on yourself. They're both
the
themed pretty similarly. At first,
like the clerics
we had
and the
started with
mages and the
linking these
back
two
line.
concepts directly,
Like I'm going to
like
want to
you
wear
would put
cloth
the hunts on
because
yourself
most
and
likely
then
that's the
shoot
type
that
of
hunt
damage
out
they're
as a
going to be
mark,
doing.
And infuse the target with that. But we ended up kind of separating them just to make them a little bit more independently and
Yeah, a lot more
freely
strategy
usable.
involved in
But
these
the theme you can see is the same. We've
in this game.
chosen the tiger,
A lot more than
bear,
I
and
think a lot of
raven,
people are giving credit
animals,
to.
but they're stay tuned for more.
I love
and
these
yeah, like you guys are
visual
talking
elements
about, the visuals
because
for
that's
these
what
are
I
really
predicted
cool.
for the ranger.
But
Like
yeah,
self buff
these are
was
basically
looking like Vixen.
different buffs that you will put on yourself, and they do
So
tend
the
to have
hunts
some
look
synergy
really
with their
cool.
respective thematic creatures.
And
So I used
the
mark of the
marks look
raven
really
this
cool.
time
I
around
love the
because
animal
that's
rushing
because
in.
I
Like
had
that's super
hunt of
super
the
awesome.
raven, which is giving me additional physical penetration. But let me use
Like even if
let me
the
use mark of the bear on the target.
the
while
combat
having that
is
hunt active, and once I get
bland
117
and
then
old and
179.
like a
Wow.
2012 game,
That's significant. Oh, I'm doing 117.
visually it looks
because
amazing, and I'm gonna love just walking around the world and just casually playing and getting out on the seas and doing some pirate action and attacking the krakens that are out there and hopefully summoning some krakens of my own.
Let's try that. Okay.
Maybe Keenan doesn't have enough armor for the extra to help.
Oh, poor Keenan. Not enough armor.
Yeah, they could have
Gray
gone really
armor.
lazy
He's
with
in
the
kinda some newbie gear down there.
Oh no.
with the marks.
Okay.
They absolutely
Alright,
could
but
have
that is
just been like,
The thing
here's a
about
little
the,
mark and
armor
done
pen
like
is
that
will
type of
scale
animation
more and
over
more
the
effectively
enemy.
The more armored your target is, so you can think of it
I'm
as
very
like a
happy that they
counter stat,
separated the
for
the
people
combo,
who
like
built that up.
the
looks
in that
awesome.
into two different
All right,
abilities,
so now we
the hunts
also
and the
have
marks.
Scattershot.
That
This
adds a
is one of our
huge
first
gameplay
ability
loop.
abilities. Talk to me a little bit about
No, it
Scattershot.
doesn't feel too magic-y. It feels
Yes, like you
very
said, it's a AoE
like
ability.
nature
It fires out
attunement.
in a cone in front of you.
like that's something you'd anticipate
about
seeing like
20
from
meters
a
ahead.
like a shaman.
And we've got some pretty cool tech with this.
Someone that's in
first is
tune with the
we're drawing
environment.
A targeting decal that
Very
only
cool.
the caster can see to help like align
do think the
cast as you're
visual-
firing it. The second cool
Like,
thing
this
that we're
would be
doing
a
here is
critique
you
that
can
I would
actually
give.
charge the
Like they need to
ability
make that a little bit more
into a
transparent.
beam,
The
which
big
is
triangle,
better for
and then
lower amount of
it's more
targets. So
important for
if you
like
just wanna
that
hit a wide field of
element
targets,
that's
you
coming
just
over the
quick
middle,
cast it, but
because
if you were
that
interested in
that
AoEing
effectively gives you the
specific
same
smaller
feel.
pack,
That
it'd be
V.
more efficient for you to do the charge cast.
But he's also super zoomed in
Very cool. So
because
I
most
have
people are
to
going to
hold
play
the
super
charge to
zoomed out.
completion to get the
So
additional,
maybe it looks a lot better
damage value,
super zoomed
essentially.
out.
Yes.
Spiritual magic,
Very cool.
exactly.
Now, this is obviously a big point of feedback that I think people can provide.
I definitely
Obviously,
think they could have done
there's
the
a lot of
FX a
interesting
little bit
thoughts
more
around,
insane for raining
subjective,
death.
of course, around UI and decal elements.
I
that
think
help to
the
communicate
basic
kind of
ranged
these
attack
AoEs.
from DC Universe
As Brian
Online
said,
for
this is
the
obviously gonna be
the
a decal
bows
that is, only shown
almost
to
looked
the
better than
caster,
kind of what they
not,
showcased.
shown across.
Yeah, he is using the
players.
short bow.
But what is the desire?
That is
of,
they
our
could have
community when it
swapped
comes
between
to
the two different bow
showcasing and
types, and they
demonstrating
didn't.
kind of the area of effect for certain types
Like he
of
could have been
spells. We
like
want,
done the first half of the
something,
showcase
obviously this is
showcasing
done
the
very
short
elegantly. I
bow,
think Scott did this one as well.
and then done like
I
the
think it
second
looks
half of the
great.
showcase being like, let's go ahead and put the
But,
longbow
this is
back
something
on.
That is a point of feedback that we want to collect from players.
So that's a
As
good
you
that's a
guys
good
get
call
to
out,
play
Strange.
through Alpha 2, and as you're seeing these these updates, what do you enjoy most about conveying these area of effects? And this isn't the only area of effects spell we have. We also have Airstrike, and we've seen Airstrike in the past as well.
Airstrike,
but this
the
one
big
just seems a
change
little
they
bit
made to
of,
this feels
TLC.
really good.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and just real quick, the reason why you're hearing my voice a lot is
Yeah,
I'm the owner
Strider's
of the
definitely
Ranger,
going
so
short bow.
I'm in charge of
Short bow
the-
and then
this
short
class, so
sword.
that's why I'm the one that's why you're hearing my voice a lot. Anyways, Airstrike, we gave this we gave this an update. We replaced
They
the
toned
particle
it down. They
effects 'cause
gave it
were
movement. We're going to be
way
jumping around the
too
map and
laggy.
just breaking everything.
So yeah, Scott again did a pass on these. They look amazing. We also
That might be the
let
best
you
reason
have
to
air
go
control
Ranger
with this.
in the
You can
initial
steer it
alpha
while you're in
too,
the
just to
air.
see what we can
And
break.
we fine-tuned the animation, I believe.
You're doing
Alex
this and
put in some time
backflips
to
up
make
the different
sure
mountains that you're not supposed to go
it's
up.
holding you only for the right amount. It's not grabbing you
That's
and
gonna be
locking you
fun.
in place weirdly on landing. We really polished up how it feels whenever you use it. So it's just really seamless and nice to use.
I do wish there
and
were
the
more
effect that it's
trap
providing,
abilities
if
though.
you
There's
actually
only
hit a
one
target with
right
it,
now.
It does pretty big damage and also roots the target. So this is a really good skill whenever your tank pulls in a big pack of monsters.
I think
just
so,
airstrike over top
because
of it, lock it all down in place.
You
and
do
then
not
you and
jump
your
as
mages
high
blow up the
as
pack.
he did in this
I think it looks
showcase.
great.
I think
Animation
you're
changes
100%
that
correct.
actually look awesome. The
Using the
additional
longbow and using
functionality,
airstrike,
that you guys
you got
incorporated as part of
more.
controlling the air movement,
You
I
got
think
a
is
higher
something that
jump.
people are gonna
Another great
love.
call out, Strange.
Obviously, airstrike also is a significant mechanical benefit for the Ranger because it's, in addition to damage, is also.
I'm
a
getting
CC
phone
effect.
calls.
Talk to me a little bit about.
Yeah, the spread was
CC that
definitely bigger.
airstrike conveys,
You jumped further.
and what's
I
its
think that's
intended
good.
purpose like in combat? I mean, there's mobility associated with it. There's damage associated with it. There's CC. It's kind of has a broad spectrum of effect conveyed.
Yeah.
What do you
it's
think
a
about the
pretty
armor,
powerful ability
Strange?
And it has a long cooldown because it's providing that wide spectrum of effect.
What do you think about this
the
wolf
Ranger is
gear?
one of the most mobile classes. It's second to the Rogue only. So this is part of how we're
Oh, yeah, you
providing
love
that
it.
mobility benefit.
Yeah, it's
And, yeah,
huge.
whenever you hit targets, they're rooted in place. They cannot move. So it's very
Again,
effective as
another
an escape tool, but
callback
also,
to
the hard
DC
engage
Universe
tool that
Online.
kind of puts you at risk.
There
but
was
if you got tank and
a
clear
wolf
cut your
helm
back,
in
maybe
DC
that's
Universe
the right
Online
calculus
that
for your play.
all the sweaty PvPers wore.
All right, cool. Let us try.
Just
Thundering
too
Shot.
cool.
Talk to me a little bit about Thundering Shot.
Probably the most
Yeah, this is
underwhelming looking
definitely,
skill.
a
in the
favorite
entire
ability on the
showcase.
team by a lot of people. It shoots a lightning arrow at the target, and if you're far enough away, I believe the conversion range is 10 meters, it does an additional AoE explosion around.
But
the
I love the effect that you can change it into an AoE.
Let's see if I'm closer.
But
Ah,
visually underwhelming in comparison to all the other
and-
skills.
And also it changes it to.
I can see me playing a
AoE
short
around
bow
the target.
ranger because it feels so
Yeah,
different.
So you get more
and fits the
damage.
melee
We
archetype more,
wanted
100%.
to have some abilities in the kit, at least with the showcase that we're showing right now, where it's range focused, where there is some advantage for staying at range, and also there's some advantage for closing on a ranger.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
so.
Very cool. Next up,
I think
we
it'd be
have another
really
lightning
cool
ability. This one's
to,
called Lightning Reload. Talk to me a little
take
bit
that
about
disengage
Lightning
backflip
Reload,
and
Trav.
like give it
This one's more of
a stun effect
self-buff
too
effect,
via
when
your
you put it on
augments. Like the
yourself.
augment system's gonna take these
It will
kits
allow you to use
to like
one of
super new
a
heights. It's
few
gonna be
abilities
insane
without, spending its
if they
cooldown.
achieve
So I
what
believe a
Steven has
couple of
sent
them are
out
like
for the team
Snipe,
to achieve.
Headshot, Thundering Shot, ones we've already been through.
Okay.
If you pop that first, you get about a 5-second window, and if you use one of those abilities within that
Ranger
window,
Ranger
it will
and
not
Ranger
recede, meaning
Mage, you'll
you
want the
could use it
longbow.
twice back-to-back.
And I think also
You
like
can also
the
even use
Ranger
something that's
Cleric,
already
you'll
on
want the
cooldown
longbow
by
too.
popping that first, so it's not like you have
You could
to
add
already have
that
it
in there.
available,
Oh,
so
okay.
you can use it in
The
a lot of
Ranger
pinches.
Rogue
So
for
this is
sure,
another
Ranger
concurrent
Fighter,
effect that I can-
short
I
bow,
can
quick
use. Brian, what are some of the quick combos
quick
with this?
attacks, get in.
Yeah, one
Zip
of my
it.
one of my favorite ones is
gonna feel
the
real
triple
good.
headshot combo. So if a target is marked,
Oh yeah, here's his combo.
headshot on
This is
them
the combo,
has
Strange.
50% reduced cooldown if you're spec'd for it. So what you
Turn the
can
volume
do
back up.
is you can mark someone. You can headshot, and as you're charging up the first headshot, throw a mark. And then whenever the headshot hits, you lightning reload, and then you get 2 more.
One of the
headshots
things
right
I
after
wrote
that.
out
And it
in
makes
a
really
script that I
nasty
had for
combo
the
finishing
5
off a target that's already below
most important
50%
things
health,
that I
'cause
want
you're
from the
getting that
Ranger
bonus
showcase
damage on headshot too at
was
that point,
the
which makes its efficiency
turn
per
that back
second
down.
higher
Was
than
the
snipe.
visual
Okay, so with Mark of the Raven,
elements of the look. Like we've already got the
Okay, which one
green
gives
and
the
golds to really encompass that like more naturey feel, but
Oh,
there was a real lacking of like red primal feel
50% reduced
in
cooldown on headshot.
like the basic
Right,
attack
we currently
showcase,
have
and they
hunt,
really nailed it.
physical penetration, but we've already determined.
So I wish the hunt of the bear, I wish the bear had more rage in
we don't
there,
have enough
more reds.
physical mitigation. So let us do.
Just like the headshot ability has that red hue.
And let us apply Mark of the Bear on you.
Mark of the Bear.
While we're casting 3.
Mhm.
So it's going to be 3 shift 4. And then you said lightning reload and 3 twice more.
Yes.
Should I start with snipe first?
Yeah, you can do
Yeah, so
that.
strange. You go
Okay, so
snipe
snipe
for the
3
increased crit chance
while
into
doing
headshot
Mark
for
of the Bear.
a
Alright,
big
let's try that.
smack. It's got a
I'm getting some
cooldown.
heal strat.
Really?
You hit the mark guy. You hit lightning reflexes, then you get 2 instant cast headshots. Synergy.
Oh, but you know what? I did that with the cooldown set to
Yeah.
nothing. Oh no.
I mean,
Hold on.
Mark of the Bear
Let me
could
set that
also
back to
bring
once.
in
Okay, so this is the
like a
normal cooldown
condor.
frequency.
That would be
Okay.
a like a big
Representative of real
beefy
gameplay.
Correct.
bird
Yes, yes,
theme
yes.
summon.
Alright, let's try that again. I'm gonna do the
Condor comes in and does something, an
Alright,
eagle
here we
comes
go.
in and does something. You know, you're really big birds. Whereas your like Mark of the Tiger could bring in like actual
Ooh,
falcons
okay, very
or
cool.
hawks, like
Oh,
really
that's
quick
awesome.
predator birds.
Yeah, it feels pretty crisp. And yeah, if Keenan was below half health there, he would have taken.
So
I
you
mean, he
could
might have
keep
died.
it very
Oh my God.
bird themed
Not with me
with
as a healer.
I know. You're too good.
with them all.
All right, let me set cooldowns back. Let me max my mana. Okay, we've showed off.
I love the synergy between all the marks. Like
lightning
there's
reload.
direct
Next up, I have
synergy
Bear
between
Trap. Talk to me a
the
little bit
corresponding
about
mark
Bear
and hunt, but there's synergy
Yes,
between
Bear
all
Trap.
3.
So we went through a couple iterations on this. We wanted a very solid.
Yeah,
trap ability. It's
condors
right in the
definitely
name.
sound epic.
Often in games they're either too small,
For your
they
falconer,
activate too short,
your
they're just not
bird
there, They
ranger.
don't last long enough. There's lots of ways for a trap to suck. And we think we got Bear Trap in a decent spot where it's pretty usable. You can
I definitely
pre-place
want
them on
them
the
to
ground.
add,
They last for I believe 30 seconds after you place them. So
add
it's
more
a very
traps.
strategic ability.
But also, like a
allowing
giant
for zone
condor, you could
control.
also go into like the
You
wyvern
can place these in between
and
you
like dragons
and, a
and
hostile
other
target
like
and kite them
aerial
into it.
creatures
You can make
too.
like a little trap wall in front of you, so that if people are closing on you, or rather you're setting up a gank and you want to set that up beforehand, so whenever there's a counter
It looks fine, but it definitely is really big.
Very cool.
That's one thing
definitely benefits
Autopilot
that
was saying
strategically
earlier. It's
minded
very
player.
Very nice.
cartoonish with how big it is.
Can I hit my own bear trap? No, I'm just kidding.
No, thankfully.
I hope not.
But if I did, I'd have Call of the Wild.
I certainly, I was
Yes.
just
Maybe-
really
yeah,
hoping
maybe
he
we
was
should
going to
just
hit
show
the
that one.
backflip.
Yeah.
He was going to place the trap.
Maybe
The
let's
mob
Call
was
of
going to
Wild.
hit the trap,
It
and then he
is
was just
a
going to keep
CC
plinking
break
away.
and a movement buff.
Especially when he was fighting
So
the
if you get
spider.
hit with a
and the tank
nasty
couldn't
stun or
get the,
something, you
the
just
threat.
break out of it and run away.
Standard CC
Ooh,
breakability.
That was cool. I love the effects. That looked awesome. Wait, let's try that one more time. So I'm running along. Give me a stun.
I gotta wait for the cooldown. Try with the
okay.
trap or something.
Alright. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, but the Ranger is a fairly fragile class overall, so if they get a stun on them and it doesn't get cleansed, then
Here, I'll do it again.
Alright, here
they'd
we
be
go.
very nasty.
Imagine one of your hunts or one of your charges or one of your marks
Yeah, all
turns
of
you
our
into a
archetypes will have
charge.
their own versions of
Yeah.
CC breaks, just because that
That's
is
a good
one of the
call out,
things
Strange.
Where players want answers to those kinds of situations, and
That would be a
that'll
great
part of
way
your
to
spec
add
choice,
charge
right, is
to a
like,
ranger's
how
kit.
much do you want to build into your ability to resist and break CC versus just be like a raw glass cannon, and accepting those risks. That all factors into like the decision making when it comes to specs.
Yeah, one of the pillars that we're trying to build combat on top of is giving players the true feeling of agency, like they're really in control of their
True
character and what happens to their
player
character, rather than
agency.
just watching stuff happen to their character that they have no impact on.
Oh, it feels so good. Keenan, come over here. Let me try this next ability, Raining Death. I love the name of that, by the way.
So here's Raining Death for you, Strange.
Feels like a perfect like band name for a heavy metal group.
Not quite the
Yeah.
block out the sun,
Like a Slayer song.
but still really cool.
All right, very
Yes.
cool.
So Raining Death is also using a caster side targeting decal. So again, only the caster is seeing that targeting decal. And that allows them to line it up a little bit better and make sure they're hitting the targets that they want to hit. And another thing to note is we are making the spread of projectiles a little more even and dense. So yeah, as you notice, there's some spots
it's really
in
fast.
the decal that don't look like they're getting hit. They are actually getting hit because of this homing arrow tech. There's actually a hitbox.
Maybe
that's
there'll
being
be
drawn
like
there,
if you spec
and
more
every
points
target
into it,
within that
or maybe there's
hitbox
an augment
is
for
getting a
it
homing arrow
that you
fired
can
at it.
like
Actually 2 homing arrows fired at
like
it. So
repeatedly hit it.
It is hitting stuff, even though
Like you can make it like a
might not
charge
look like it
ability
right
that
now.
like
We're gonna
fires up
improve
to
that a
3
little bit
times.
more.
So it's like blah 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 blah.
And Scattershot has a little
Because
bit
you
of the
love
same
my,
thing
my
going on
sound
where
effects.
the spread's not really perfect.
Sorry
but
if you came into the
that's
stream
currently in
on the
progress with
sound
our VFX
effects.
artist to make a little
But
bit
I think
better.
that would be a really
it's
cool
a good
augment to make it
representation of, like,
a
where
really
we've
huge
been trying to find a balance
AoE
between
skill.
making these abilities feel organic and not super like templated to use, but at the same time, at the end of the day, like, gameplay is the name of the game, and we want these things to be reliable.
Yeah,
and
they're
consistent,
infused
both
with the
from,
essence.
the users and the
Anything that
oh
might
my
be
God.
immersion
No,
breaking,
the fact that I'm talking.
you just apply the essence to it, and you're not
He
firing
just-
just
he
arrows.
sure
You're
did
firing
that.
arrows
from
that have
you.
been
He
imbued
just-
with the essence, and now it's like a
Okay, I
raining
rezzed
death
him.
arrow with all
Oh,
of
that
them.
gotta
was
roll.
so good. That was so good. That was little ash
I
loot piles on
forgot
the
what I was
ground.
saying.
I forgot
I
what you were
dropped some
saying too.
stuff.
That was a great effect. I think Siva worked on excuse me. I think Siva worked on that as well.
Well, luckily you don't have to worry about that in Ashes. We have the essence.
But yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Raining Death is an example where we iterate on these abilities multiple times, and sometimes it requires a complete rebuild. This is, I think, the third complete rebuild of that ability, because the previous versions just weren't good enough for our players. They were more direct fire projectile based, which is pretty cool because you see there's a direct connection between the projectile and dealing damage. but
Barrage feels
we
so
found a
cool.
solution where we can simulate the appearance of all the projectiles hitting, and then we can also have a homing volume underneath that. So it's very reliable while also looking super
Out of mana, sorry, Keenan.
Oh no, Keenan!
And then just down he
Oh, he's
goes.
corrupted. Look at that.
Oh, did
Oh,
I turn
man.
corrupt?
Oh, I gotta take advantage of it.
Oh no no no!
And there's your first
Wait a
witness
minute,
of
I have no
someone
cooldown.
getting
You
tagged
pissed
with
off the cleric.
corruption.
How did I go corrupt?
By killing an innocent player.
Nice.
Oh, we
I mean,
did
we'll
it!
have to see. I don't think that will be
Okay,
coming
wait,
strange.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me.
At least not for the style of
That's what I was
combat that
doing.
they've been building.
Alright, sorry. So,
It would look
See,
really
Steven's
cool
good
though.
player, guys.
yay! How dare you? Just because I show at a lower APM so everyone can see the
Steven out
fidelity
here
of
getting
the
corrupted.
effects and the gameplay around the environment.
Yeah, rapid
and the
fire
NPCs.
sounds and feels really
Doesn't mean
good.
I don't have a little bit of what is it called? Juice?
We'll just call it a dark side.
What is it called? The juice box? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we showed off a little bit of the bear claw. I mean the bear trap. The Call of the Wild. We went through lightning reload and thundering shot. We talked about the marks and the different hunts that exist. We have disengage to show.
Yes.
Let's talk about
Disengage. Whenever you only have the ability, and you haven't unlocked any of the passives involved with disengage, it'll shoot you right back whenever you press it. So it's really good for creating space between you and some targets that are charging at you.
Yeah,
You
those
just
type of
hit disengage and
attacks
you'll
for
flip
sure.
back.
All right. Let me try that now.
Pummel, kick, shield bash.
And yeah, like.
And you can
Steven's
expect those
demonstrating,
for
you can also
the,
use it for
The
traversal.
tank too. The
Alright.
backfield feels really good, and
Something
then
that we learned with disengage,
another thing
though,
they
is
did something that was like
people
super
have
smart. I don't know if you
different
saw this
preferences for
part,
how they
Strange.
want this ability to activate. There's some
But
people who've played a lot of Ranger.
he's gonna explain it
who
here,
just
where
like,
you can
know what? I
toggle
don't wanna
the
have to
direction you
spin
face
my camera around
after you
to
use
press
the ability.
disengage.
Yeah.
And to be able to go forward. I just want it to go forward when I press the button. So we made this omnidirectional disengage option,
And
which
it's
costs zero
cost.
skill points.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. But in the future,
So-
that'll be kind of an ability option that you can choose, right? Not
So
necessarily
you can
through
use
a
it
passive effect.
offensively to just get
Right,
yourself
that's
some
the intent.
distance, or you can use
Correct.
it defensively
Yes, that
if
is
you
the
need to
intent.
run
We
away.
still need to do some
And
work
you
on
just
how
need
we're
to be
gonna, like,
facing the other
display that
direction
to the
to go.
player to make sure it's as apparent as a spec option, right? Because that's very apparent that you have that choice. And it can often be lame in games whenever how the min-max is all in the options menu, but we're going to make sure that that's nice and clean for our players, and it's very apparent the options that they have available to them. But yeah, whenever you have the omnidirectional option engaged, now whenever you're pressing a movement key, disengage will send you in that direction instead of straight back.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, and then last but not least, and then we'll go up to the to the environment and just kind of play together a little bit.
That's what everybody
is
was
the
saying
imbue ammo. Talk to me about imbue
in
ammo.
the Twitch chat.
Yep,
Was
so
it's
imbue
broken,
ammo,
it needs to be
whenever
nerfed,
you
it's
cast
too
it, it'll imbue
good.
your next currently they're set up to imbue your next
You're gonna have
10
plenty of
shots,
stuff as a
and this will
fighter
probably go through
to
another
close the
iteration, but
gap.
currently it imbues your next 10 shots with a special effect. So we've got weighted ammo, concussive ammo, and barbed ammo right now. We're probably going to add more in
See,
the
in
future.
these
These
ammo
are
imbuements, these
imbues,
are
so
the
you're
Marshall
imbuing
type
your next 10 shots with this effect.
of
Weighted
CC.
ammunition is a snaring effect, barbed is a bleed effect, and concussive is a stagger effect.
All
Stagger
Marshall
reduces
based.
accuracy and evasion,
Nice. Okay.
and it
Keenan.
also increases trip duration. So
Very
go ahead.
cool. Keenan, try just kind of running down this path, and let me do some weighted shots.
Another
Snaring 'em.
element of detail that I really like that you were down for going for, Steven, was it actually changing the appearance.
That's
of
going to
the
make it really
ammunition
hard
whenever you're
to
firing.
get after
Absolutely.
So
any
when you
ranger
load up
right
weighted
there.
shot, it
Then
will
you're
actually swap
backflipping
your-
away.
your bullets
You're
that fire- not
using
bullets, your-
airstrike to
your
go
arrows
up
that you're
to
firing
another level.
look the part. And
Like,
it
there's gonna
swaps-
be a
currently swaps over
massive
both basic attacks and
skill
barrage.
difference between a mage that's like,
Nice.
or a ranger that's really
Yeah, if
good
you want to cast your
and your average
ammo and
ranger.
then cast barrage, you can show that off.
Let's do it.
Like
Let me
the
do
skill gap is
probably-
gonna be very huge for this
let's
archetype.
do weighted as you're running again. Let's try that.
It's gonna make for some really awesome clips. There's gonna be some really awesome rangers that get on
All right, let me set my cooldown
on some
to
PvP
something
action,
that's
and they're gonna just
representative of
have
real
some
gameplay,
sweet
Although I
clips.
have far more abilities than I should at level 7, but that's okay. And I will join your party now. Oh no.
He's still
If we can even
corrupted.
invite you.
No, you can. You can.
Oh,
I'm only
nice, okay.
corrupted. I mean, I'm not like a monster. Come on
That's true, true.
now. Now you might, however, flag when you heal me, but you know that's okay.
We'll see.
What do we got over here? Oh, I love that.
fungus
That's
attack.
Awesome. My whoops. Oh wow.
Nice.
The the snipe followed the target. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of aim offset there in animation that we did.
Yeah, that looks great.
Quite a few of the bow abilities do it actually. It's just a lot more obvious with snipe.
Yeah, headshot's another one. As long as it's within a certain angle, it will try.
I
to
definitely
maintain
feel they need
tracking
to
of the target.
possibly.
And yeah, the way that we pulled
I mean,
it off,
that
it's
ability
not,
would be
like,
good in an
affecting your
action
control
combat
rotation at
sort of
all,
sense.
It's just an appearance thing.
But like abilities like snipe, barrage, headshot.
Oh, it feels good. Feels
If
good.
you're using action combat and then the other guy is not, you're definitely going to be at a disadvantage.
It did not feel this good a while ago. I really want to give credit to our playtesting process. This was in a much rougher state a couple months ago.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we get in the game. We play test it the same way that the players will be play testing it to make sure that it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. I think one of the great things that your team has done is you've really defined your iterative loop, right? And obviously the most important aspect of that loop is going to be the playtesting aspect, which you guys playtest. I mean, I think every day, right? With NPC team and the world team.
If I can give my
really
fighter
helping to
poison, that
define,
would feel super
obviously not
unique.
just
Well,
the
hopefully you
player
can do that as a
character and the
ranger.
abilities you guys are authoring, but also the
Or as
playable
a-
space and
as a
the playable
rogue.
enemies
Fighter
that
rogue.
you're encountering as
I'm
part of
hoping
this-
poisons
of
are one
this
of
whole
the rogue.
Yeah, I mean,
Schools
it's
of
important to note
augmentation.
even when we're not in official playtests, like when we're building these things, we make it a key point to be playing the stuff as we're building it. Like the designers aren't just making stuff on paper and handing it off. Like we're in the tools, we're building these things, and we're in a game environment. And it's
It
I
looks
think
so
part of
pretty.
the reason that these things come together so nicely is we can like build them in real time and play them in real time.
I think that's
as we do so.
That's a
Yeah,
Vec
I
model.
mean, it is.
Will help, guys.
Oh wait, hold on.
It's
I'm
just really
taking in the
skinny.
view a little bit over here.
For a Renkai, but
Because
it could be a
is
Renkai. It's standing
beautiful
up.
view.
It is definitely
straight.
beautiful. And I love all the verticality on our maps, but it has definitely forced us to make abilities in a better way. If we just had flat arenas like every other game, it would be way easier to make all this stuff. But that's why we were forced to make the cool homing hitbox tech that both Scattershot and Raining Death are using, because we're playtesting in the environment, we're figuring out what works or what doesn't, and then we're adjusting and building new stuff to fit.
Oh, it feels so good. Love the combat with this ranger. And obviously we have a big showcase next month with regards to PvP in a more raid format. And you guys are going to be seeing some
big
changes that are done
PvP
to
live
the
stream next month.
mage effects as well, yeah? I think
Oh,
Scott's
yeah.
working on that now. Oh my god.
Scott and Siva, I believe, are both working on the mage next, so that'll be very exciting to see that get another pass, because
Swapping single target over to the multi-target.
Absolutely.
Big,
Wow, that was a big call, actually.
big win on how those
Shred.
abilities are looking.
I love this area. And the mixture of creatures here is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I actually, like, the Raven has gone through a bunch of iterations, but I do like the current iteration of it. It could be a little bit more deadly, but I think it's fulfilling its role of like that popcorn mob. It's super annoying, but you can kill it really fast if you focus it down. Then it won't give you as many issues.
Oh man, you just one-shot that
Smoked.
thing.
Just one-shot that raven.
Absolutely.
By the way, Steven,
smoked.
isn't that chart over there like kind of lore relevant?
Which one? Oh, good call. Yeah, we should talk a little bit about this zone. So this is a small point of interest within the Riverlands area. Obviously, we're in the Riverlands. It is winter. And this particular location, called the Gem Spring, is a remnant, a shard remnant of one of the Harbingers that broke off and actually has begun some interesting interaction with Essence within this area. So those of you guys who are going to be participating in Alpha 2, this will be a location where you're going to have some related quests, and this gives you an idea about Gem Springs. Oh,
Gem
here,
Springs.
Gem Spring. What do you say? Should we just do like
A
mass
Renkai
raid?
hunter,
Oh gosh. All right.
especially
wanna
if this
pull 'em?
is
Yeah.
some of the armor you get. That would be really cool.
Get it all. Get
Keep
it
them
all.
in chains though. I got an AoE down. Pull them back in.
Get as many as you can.
Oh my god.
Yeah, big Chungus pull.
I'm gonna go all the way around.
You got AoE capabilities, you
God,
got
here they
single target
come.
capabilities, and this is pre-alpha 2.
Okay, where you at? Where you at?
They're right here. Oh, they leashed.
Okay, we got some of them. That wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad.
Fortunately, these guys are just kind of slow.
Little mycelium.
Yeah, the philosophy
there.
and the style of
the
class and
ravens, though.
archetypes,
Ooh, the ravens
it's
are
very intuitive. Very intuitive. Yeah, Margaret's answer, like, blew my mind.
Oh, they push you out of the way.
Absolutely blew my mind.
Woo! That was awesome. We cleaned up this place. That was very cool.
And I really need to get some better gear. My damage is terrible.
I wonder if there is something for us to discover up at the top. Should we go check it out?
Yes.
Yeah, the visuals
These poor
are
spiders.
crisp, is how they've
Wait,
been looking.
That's a named moth.
Oh no! Oh no!
You shook.
Is it really?
Yeah. That's got like
Okay.
2.5k health.
All right.
It's just a bigger spider.
Wait a
It's like
It's
minute.
3
just a
times
bigger
the normal
spider.
spiders.
Let's see.
It's an elite. Everybody panic. Target dummy. Petri out.
No. It is. It has a lot of hit points here.
It really
I
does.
need a tank.
I'm trying. My damage is just so bad.
That's where he should have dropped the trap down, dashed away, and then started
You don't need a
plinking.
tank.
Mark. Wait for it.
Rangers are solo class,
Oh,
man.
there he goes. Oh, I think we leashed him.
Oh no. Kill him
Oh,
quick.
No, kill him.
Kill him.
Kill him.
Snare him.
Oh
Ooh.
no! Oh,
He didn't use his imbue
no.
ammo.
That's a classic moment right there.
All right, let's take him down. Let's take him down. Come on now.
All right, all deeps.
The Brood Warden comes in mind when you're talking summoner with spiders. Big spider tank.
Come on now.
Now that the tank's got some threat,
I mean, he doesn't hit that hard, so.
Got him. We did it.
Yay.
We have done it.
not gonna lie, like the combat feels really
Look at
good,
This view.
and it's only gonna get better.
Good God, man.
Need some armor
So
on those
good.
legs. I'm sure there's gonna be some armored
Climb
spiders.
up here. Where are you going?
There's gotta be.
I'm just getting a better view.
Okay, hold on.
This is nice.
Yeah,
And then this is gonna be another really cool element of the game:
It's a familiar.
traversing and exploring
point of
and
interest.
finding like nooks and crannies that have cool things.
Holy
Something over
smokes.
here.
Where?
Over yonder. around
Oh,
the
I
rock.
guarantee you, there's gonna be some freaky looking
what is
spiders.
that? What is that?
I think it's a little
I
sandal
love that they
surprise
made
left to
a
us from
sandal
our,
Christmas
lovely
tree.
environment artists.
It probably belongs to
Oh.
that spider back there.
No, we found its nest. Its
All the
sandal nest.
sandals.
We killed it, and it had a sandal nest in adoration to the sandal wisdom.
Too good.
This looks amazing. Oh, I love it. Tristan and the environment team must have done an awesome job here. Some of these, I've never seen the sandal tree before. That's new. That's different. I wonder if the wind speed affects it. I see the sandals.
It does.
moving. Oh, does it really?
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
The
that's so
cleric's
good.
got some
That
really
is so
interesting
awesome.
armor too.
Oh, is there like a little jump puzzle? Can you get up there?
You can. I don't know if you can get on the big tree.
That looks awesome. Well, guys, thank you for joining me and showcasing all the hard work that you and the many members.
I
of the
appreciate
team have
everyone
devoted
tuning
to
into the
obviously
stream today.
upgrading our
Um,
basic weapon attacks, the ranged weapons.
But I'm gonna get up on out of here. I gotta
major
start working
archetype,
on
you know,
a
the
video
stones
to
are beautiful,
post,
the
just kind of
monsters are cool,
recapping
everything
my
is
thoughts on the
shaping up very
showcase.
nicely.
But
As a
thanks
great
for tuning
showcase
in.
today,
You know,
and
subscribe
guys,
if you haven't
you're
subscribed to
watching
the
out there in
channel.
community. Obviously, we do
Please
these so that we can
like
get your
the
feedback.
stream,
Oh,
like the
no.
video.
Okay, we did it.
You know,
So that we can get your feedback.
all your support is
on
what
things that
I
you saw
need
today.
to grow,
What
and
did
that's
you
what I'm
think?
looking to do. We got
Looked great. What
6
things
months
would you
minimum
change?
until Alpha
This
2,
is- look at that.
Q3 Alpha 2. It's coming.
What a great game
I'm
to
very
wonder.
excited. This was a really awesome
Um,
stream. Thank
So
you,
please make
Margaret,
sure to
for
participate
answering
in
my
our forums,
question.
on
You
the
really
social media,
Sparked
YouTube,
my
video,
interest
everything.
even more in the
Talk to us
class
about what you
system.
enjoyed
Got that
today,
Hopium
and how you like the
Jets
direction of the
just
archetypes, the class,
railing
the combat, how
strong.
everything's going. I know it means a
But
lot
thanks for
to
tuning in, man. See you later,
Brian, Brad, Keenan,
Strange.
and everybody else on the
All right,
combat team,
later.
for you guys to